Good morning and welcome to the AM show for today, Friday. Now, the week has traveled with us from Monday. We passed through Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and today, by His grace, we are in Friday. What an amazing week it's been, and we are all glad to share a part in it. And I'm sure that we are all grateful to Him for making it possible for us to go through the week. Welcome again to the Friday edition of the AM show. Now, we'll start it off with the news review, and today, my brother from another mother from another region, Samuel Mbura, will be joining us to do this. And from there, we'll bring you AM Sport. We've got Prime Take with Muftau Nabila Abdullah. Some special interaction coming there for you. And then, it's just a day to when members of the governing New Patriotic Party will decide who makes the top 5. Now, 10 men are seeking to lead the party into the 2024 general election ahead of its main congress. The party will on Saturday prune the number of 10 aspirants to 5. We've got a conversation on that, and our guest in studio will be Kwapong. He is one of the flag bearer aspirants. We'll also be joined by Dr. John Osai Kwapong. He is a CDD fellow. He'll be joining us. Evans Nemako is Director of Research and Elections of the NPP. He'll be joining us. Now, political scientist Dr. Ransford Jampo of the University of Ghana will also be joining us. Nana Boachi Yadom is a multimedia journalist. He'll be joining us with the feedback from, or what's happening in Kumasi. Now, after that, there is a symposium on the life and works of Dr. W.E. Du Bois, and we'll share more details when the organizers join us for breakfast. You know how important that man means to the Black history. So we'll be doing that discussion. Join us to learn more about his life. We'll also activate the phone lines for you to call in and share your thoughts on the issues that we'll be bringing here. Plus, we'll bring you your social media reactions on topics that we'll be discussing here. So, who do you think will make the last card or last 5 of the NPP flag bearer aspirant? Go on to social media and let's hear from you. It's a beautiful morning, and I'm sending your way a lot of hearts, a lot of good wishes for you to make this day a great one. On behalf of the team here, I say welcome aboard, and in my own Hunter language, Good morning and welcome. Good morning and welcome. Let's do AM News now. And the Bono East Regional Secretary of the governing New Patriotic Party, David Boache, says all arrangements to ensure a smooth national delegate conference have been made. Now, 35 delegates will vote in Saturday's exercise in the Bono East region. And Asabet has more in this report.
Who leads the New Patriotic Party in the 2024 presidential elections enters the home stretch as the party holds its superdelegates conference on Saturday to reduce the number of aspirants from 10 to 5. Here in the Bono East region, a total of 35 delegates are expected to cast their ballots at the Kokoko Social Center in Bamri, a suburb of Techiman. Regional Secretary of the New Patriotic Party, David Boache, says all arrangements are set to ensure the exercise is held peacefully.
Bono East has 34 delegates, but 35 people are going to vote in the region because we have had one transfer. That somebody has transferred the votes. In all, nationwide, we have 7 transfers. Ashanti had the highest of 3, then 4 other regions having 1 each. Bono East has 1. We do not have a proxy votes, but we have 1 transfer. So in all, we will be 35 people voting at Kokroko Social Center, Bamri, that is Techiman. National Council took a decision that all the elections must be held at the regional capitals. So ours is being held in Techiman here, Bamri Social Center. All arrangements are set. All our delegates so far are available.
He noted that the party is solely relying on the Ghana Police Service for security and no internal party security will be entertained.
Let me say this. We don't have arrangement for any internal security there. Completely, everything is for the police to take over. We are only 34. And the one person joining us to make us 35. I don't think any of us, because if you look at the category of delegates, all the 17 regional officers, 11 constituency chairmen, 3 members of parliament, 1 surviving founding father, 1 national council rep, and the regional minister. So we don't see anything so special that will make us need a security that will be out of control.
He again appealed to the delegates to abide by the laid down rules and regulations governing the polls to ensure that the process is held smoothly.
I'm just pleading with the party people that when you get there and you are not a delegate, even if you are a delegate, we have to go by the instructions of the security. As I said, tomorrow we are going there to know how they are going to set up. So we'll know the level where supporters will reach, the level of media, then where the delegates can go.
Those expected to cast their ballots on Saturday include members of the National Council and National and Regional Executive Committees, members of Parliament, and 3 representatives from each of the special organs of the party, that is the youth, women, and NASA. The rest are national officers, 3 representatives from each branch. Founding members during the registration of the party at the Electoral Commission, all card-bearing ministers. Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Tichiman.
Now, Commissioner of the Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice, Raj Joseph Wetal, is optimistic the passage of the law that criminalizes accusations of witchcraft practice of witch finders and witch doctors will stop the practice. He's been engaging with stakeholders in the Nanumba South municipality of the Northern region. Martina Bugri reports.
Held at the Regional Coordinating Directorate in the capital, Nairobi, the meeting was attended by representatives from the Traditional Authority and some selected public institutions, among other participants. It was organized by the Commission for Human Rights and Administrative Justice as part of its efforts to educate the local population about the new witchcraft bill passed by Parliament, a bill sponsored by Medina MP Francis Xavier Sosu and 5 of his colleagues seeks to protect elderly women accused of witchcraft, making it a crime to abuse them or send them away from their communities. The Commissioner of Siraj, Joseph Wetal, in his remarks explained to the participants the concept of the new bill, its purposes and sanctions for those who will fall foul. He described the witchcraft meanings as dehumanizing and pleading with the residents to
incumbent upon all of us to know how we speak, how we take advantage of poor elderly women, stigmatizing them because it is only at that time it was always left with maybe the chiefs who are to determine that the punishment. Now the state has taken control, and so even the chiefs themselves will have a problem if they do or they continue with any practice.
The bill, after several years of delays, was finally passed by Parliament on July 27th, pending the authorization of President Nana Akufo-Addo to make it a law. Meanwhile, whilst the President is yet to sign the bill, witchcraft-related attacks have continued across the region. The Commissioner said it was unacceptable the delay by the President to sign the bill, and that if he fails to do so by the end of this month, his title or recognition as a human rights defender ought to be redefined.
For me, if the president, who is a human rights defender, a rule of law advocate, delays more than 1 month in signing this bill, which has already delayed so long in passing, then we need to redefine whether he's actually a human rights defender. Because how long does it take to sign? It shouldn't. So the 1 month, because it was passed on the 27th July, today is 21st, we have 22nd, we have 5 more days to a month. I would say that's unacceptable, given the problem that we are confronted with over the years.
During the discussion, some of the participants, particularly members of the traditional authority, staged a pushback.
It will be difficult for some of us to erase the idea that witchcraft does not exist or the practice does not exist. I don't know whether some of you understand the language within this area. I would have shown you a video, so that you hear what somebody says. If it is passed, if the president should sign it, then there will be a lot of silent killing in the villages.
We within the urban centers may be following this law, but at the rural areas, they will lynch them in silence and they will not even who have done ABCD.
From the meeting, the Shraj Commissioner also paid a visit to the Gambaga Resettlement Home, where he interacted with and presented a huge donation of foodstuff to the inmates on behalf of the French Embassy.
We will come back on the law, but today is to let you know that some donors have heard your cry and have decided that we should bring some support to you. This support is from the French Embassy in Ghana.
He assured the inmates that measures were in place and being pursued to ensure their permanent liberation and freedom.
The food, the screening that we intend to host, and the soap and all those things that we will be presenting today.
Now to other stories, Deputy Minister for Transport, Frederick Obeng-Adom, is asking Ghanaians to embrace the national electric vehicle policy so that Ghana does not become a dumping site for fossil fuel cars. He notes that transportation of people, goods and services makes the transport sector the net emitter of greenhouse gases, hence the need to adopt the policy. Rafi Salam reports.
Ghana has developed a draft on electric vehicle policy to guide the development and upscale of electric vehicles in the country to decarbonize the transport sector. The development will enable the country to achieve net zero carbon dioxide emission by 2070. The consultative meeting took place in the one municipality of the Upper West region to collate ideas from citizens and stakeholders which will help build e-vehicles policy for the country. The meeting brought together heads of department, security services, transport operators, motor mechanics, spare part dealers, persons living with disability, Ghana Association of Drivers, and some civil society organizations. The Deputy Minister for Transport, Frederick Obeng-Adom, noted that the whole world is evolving to a new trend of electric vehicles, hence the reason for the consultative meeting.
The world is moving at a more safer, a more benign alternative to having petrol, fossil fuel, that is petrol and then diesel. So the Ministry of Transport and the Ministry of Energy under the auspices of the senior minister is having this, the senior advisor of the president is having this electric vehicle policy that will help the country be able to have this policy that will guide the electric vehicles as they come in. We would also realize that this electric vehicle is already in the system, and if it's in the system, we need to have certain guidelines that will be able to guide the whole process.
He added that the transport sector is a net emitter of greenhouse gases in the country. As
you even move from your homes to this place, you use cars, and these cars, transportation of people, transportation of goods and services, makes the transport sector a net emitter of greenhouse gases. So what do we have to do as Ministry of Transport, as a country? What we have to do is to find a much more safer alternative, as I said earlier, that will be helpful to the health of you and I, and to the help of the whole citizenry. So we wouldn't want to be always emitting greenhouse gases into the air, but we want to find ways and curb all these activities of greenhouse gases.
Our Power Regional Minister, Dr. Hafiz bin Sali, in a speech read on his behalf by his personal assistant political, Abdurrahman Megoro, underscored the importance of the e-vehicle as it will help mitigate climate change.
This gathering marks a significant step in our journey towards sustainable and environmental conscious transportation solutions. Your presence today underscores your commitment to shaping a greener, more progressive future for our region and our nation.
Now, persons with disability in Ghana are faced with social and financial challenges. 13-year-old Kelvin Prince Mensah is among the thousands of the physically challenged individuals surviving Ghana's stressed economy. He tells the story of how his family struggles to cater for his needs, including settling his bills after he was hit by an articulated truck 8 years ago. There's more in this report.
In 2015, Kelvin had only obliged his teacher's directive to go home for his school bills. But he would meet a life-changing moment on his way back to school after not meeting her guardian to take his fees.
My teacher asked me to go home for my fees from my mother. On my way, I was knocked down by a car, so they amputated my leg when after I was destroyed.
Both of his lower limbs were amputated. Life has since been difficult for him and his family.
My uncle used to support me, but now it's only my mother. She's a petty trader. They find it challenging to pay my fees. I'm a good student.
School there, school there, but school fees, no, I say, Mom, baby, to your mama.
Kelvin traveled 50 kilometers from Ofenso with his colleagues at the Physically Challenged Action Foundation to benefit from a philanthropy in Kumasi. They are among the hundreds of incapacitated individuals who throng the Kumasi Cultural Center to receive from Precious Life Center. The philanthropic group donated items worth $35,000, including a number of walking aids, wheelchairs, utensils, groceries, and clothing. Akosia Yeboah is leader of the group.
I can't stand looking at them on the roadside. If I don't go, I'll give my whole money to them. So my goal is not just giving them wheelchairs and walkers and food. I'm planning to open up a facility, a center, and if you can see our name, Precious Life Center, and that's what we do in the United States. Open up a center in Ghana so that we can provide them work, job trainings, so that they can be able to take care of themselves.
She wants the government to institute pragmatic policies to ensure the well-being of persons living with disabilities.
I believe that the government will touch them more. There is a lack of support. I don't know what the government, the politics, I don't know what they are doing. I hope someone will be elected that will look at that side of disability. Because where I'm coming from in the United States, they are special. You can touch them. You will never see them on the roadside begging or crawling on the roadside. They take care of them. So I'm just praying that the government will see that side and support them, especially para lifting in stadium. They have a group there. They don't have any support at all.
The wheelchair will help me easily move around.
For Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bright Kweku.
Well, the governing council of the Anlo State in the Volta region has promised an exciting and re-energized Hobe Chochoza this year. With a new planning committee in charge, the annual festival has seen the introduction of some new activities expected to serve revelers unforgettable experiences. Speaking at the launch of the 2023 edition of the Hobe Chochoza in Keta Duto, Chogbiga Wenya III extended an invitation to the whole world to witness the indigenous culture and tradition of their laws.
The Hugbachochozan is celebrated to commemorate the exodus of the Dogbo Eres, now known as Anglos, from Nochie in Togo to their present settlement in southern Ghana. The name of the festival translates as the Festival of Exodus, or coming from Hugbe, and has since its inception formed a core of the history and heritage of the people of Anglo. It is annually celebrated to exhibit the unity, resilience and deep-rooted culture of the Anglos, and also give platform to showcase the tourism potential of the area. Speaking at the launch of the 2023 edition of the Hugbachochozan, His Royal Majesty Duto Togbigan Venya III promised revelers and indigents an exciting celebration.
This year's Hugba Festival is having a new face, so it's a new branding. It's not what we used to witness. And so you see that we have unveiled a new logo, and that marks a new beginning, the injection of new energy into the celebration. And we are calling for development. And so we are inviting everybody all over Ghana and abroad to come and witness the cultural, the richness of the culture of the Anglo people. And then we are also calling for support in terms of finance, so that there are a number of development projects we want to undertake. Some are in progress, and which we need to complete, like the community center projects. And then the Hugba Park itself, we also need an astroturf to make it beautiful.
A food bazaar, chiefs conference, women empowerment conference, and a legal clinic are some of the new activities that have been injected into the annual festival celebrations.
Another takeaway for this year's Hugba Festival is the food bazaar that we want to organize. What it means is that we are going to showcase the Anglo kitchen. Of course, without missing words, Anglo kitchen is the richest in the whole of West Africa, if not Africa as a whole. Because if you take one produce like corn, you can do about 45 dishes from this corn. And that is how rich Anglo kitchen is. If you're talking about sauces, soups, gravies, and the rest, you cannot mention the number.
I also do have a favorite thing that I want to do, which is the Miss Anglo. Miss Anglo is thrown out to all the 36 states. So we're going to have a beautiful beauty pageant.
His Royal Majesty Togbigan Venya III used the medium to clear the air on the leadership roles of the Anglo state.
The hierarchy of Anglo kingship is there. It's established from the beginning. Duto Togbigan Venya I was the one who established the kingdom and was the first king. And when the nephew came to join him, of course, he also was enthroned later after the death of the first as the Awomafia. And so when the white people took over the reign along the slave coast, which this place is designated from Elmina all the way to Dahomey, was designated as the slave coast. And so they introduced the paramountcies. So they made him a paramount chief. And so a paramount chief as an administrative head. But then there's a customary overlord, that is Duto Venya I, on whose lap he must be enthroned.
This year's Hugbachochozan would span between the 27th of October 2023 and the 5th of November 2023. The festival, which will be celebrated on the theme Anglo, Arise in Unity for Progress and Development, is expected to attract people from across the globe. Fred Kwame Asari, Joy News, Keta.
And that's how we wrap up the bulletin for today. There's more news on myjoyonline.com. Up next is the news review on the AM show. Well, welcome again to the AM show. Time for us to go into what the papers are reporting this morning. And I've been joined in the studio by, I always say, the brother Multimedia gave me from the north. Hi, Samuel Imbura.
Kojo.
Man, how are you doing, sir?
Fine, you?
I'm good.
Thank God for another Friday.
You see the action.
Tomorrow is a D-Day. We know we are not going to rest, but at least we have Sunday to rest.
We've been resting on Sunday. Anyway. Well, let's see how it goes. Yeah. But I have with me the Daily Guide newspaper. I also have the Chronicle newspaper. What do you have?
I have the Finder and the Meridian newspaper.
Okay. All right then. But even before we go into it, any news that caught your attention within the week?
I know it was yesterday's issue about the Highways Minister, Mr. Mahama, raising concerns about corrupt activities at his ministry when he went on a tour, seeing people parking in unauthorized areas. And I think that's just what drew my attention for the whole week, even though it happened yesterday. But I think that if the ministry is getting to the realization that some technocrats are involved in such activities, then this is a cause to worry. And beyond the rhetorics, beyond the complaints, we should be serious as a country. It is not only the politicians, but some technocrats are also part of the problem that we have in the country. That I think that it is an issue that we have to take a serious look into it, because we know how important our roads are. I mean, if you are not able to get a qualified person to work on the roads, you know that the roads will not last. It will suffer depression and then expose commuters to danger and all that. So you should have people who have the country at heart, at a very sensitive ministry that has to do with whatever that has to do with the road in the country and all that. So if the minister is raising concerns about these issues, I think it is in the right direction.
Is he now realizing that these are the things, or these are the things that happen in his ministry?
Yes, so that's why I was saying that, is it the case that we are not aware of it, or we are just playing the ostrich? That's
because there are some of the roads that have been constructed, and when you look at them, you ask yourself, I mean, how? Yeah. Because there are some of the roads that there's only first coat, and then they apply their markings. And when they apply the markings on the road, it means they have completed, isn't it? Yeah. And you ask yourself, who is supervising this work? But that's what we see. And then, after a few months, the road begins to deteriorate.
That's a challenge.
And he's now saying that it's because some people take some back cut somewhere, and that's why this
allow them to do shorter work. I think one of the other issues had to do with the traffic lights, street lights. You know, we have been very heavy on our Drive Safe campaign. On Sunday, I actually told around 7 to 8 p.m. I was at most of the intersections in Accra. And Kojo, I must say that the MTTD is doing so well. But those responsible, urban roads, transport ministry, whoever that is in charge of the traffic light, you have to up your game. People's lives are at risk. Go to Ablekuma, Awoshi, that particular junction, the intersection there, and they'll tell you that more than 40 people have lost their lives. Within a month or two, residents demonstrated, publicly vented their anger about it. And still, there's no improvement. It's not only that area. Go to the airport area, and some of the traffic lights are not also working. So it exposes commuters, road users to danger that I think that we have been drumming home about it, and we are expecting that the leaders who are responsible will move in swiftly to assuage the situation. It is not only the national capital. If you go to Kumasi, we have similar situations dotted across the country, especially street lights. So if you don't work on this, then the safety of the people is not guaranteed at night. And that is one of my high points in the course of the week, that I think that authorities must take keen interest. So is it all the time that the police will be on the road to direct it for us? It's actually something that we need to take serious consideration into. I know that the MTT is introducing the Traffic Tech GH technology that will ensure that offenders of the road are captured and their offenses sent to them and all. At least with some of these initiatives, it is good to go. National Safety Authority is doing its bits and all the other stakeholders. But if you all don't come together to solve this problem, we'll continue to have it in Tema, Accra, and across the country, in which it wouldn't be a good situation for us. So far as the target is to reduce road crashes, deaths associated with it, within the goals of the MTTD, National Safety Authority, and other institutions in the country.
Okay. I only pray that the Roads and Highways Minister will follow up, his observation and visit some of the newly constructed roads across the country.
Exactly.
There's a road in Western Region. He should probably pay a visit to that.
Is it a bridge that has broken down?
The bridge has broken down for more than 3 months.
I see.
And nobody is doing anything about it.
That's interesting.
The resident of the area, Princess Town is an ecotourism area. Princess Aketechi has the most beautiful shore in West Africa.
I see.
So a lot of these tourists would love to go there. Yeah. The road, was constructed beautifully. But the rains collapsed the bridge and no one seemed to care.
3 months now?
Yes,
How
for 3 months. So now what they do is that when they move from Princess Town, Aketechi, and all of the other communities, when they get there, you are light.
Okay.
And then you walk to cross the bridge, and then you board another vehicle to continue to Takra, the Agonan Content, what have you.
Wow.
And
this is an oil city.
Yeah, it's
a city that produces oil.
I tell you,
some of these companies can even take it up.
Should it be the company?
No, I'm saying some of the companies can, because they use heavy duty trucks.
No, but they don't use that road. Yeah, that road is not a place that they use.
Definitely.
Although the region, this is a coastal community, so of course, if you're talking about communities that should benefit from the oil, they are part.
Exactly. So that's the point that I'm driving at. So at least you need to have the corporate social responsibilities coming in. Government also, after getting the oil from these areas, you need to develop the area. You don't let the people complain before.
Government leading
government has a role to play.
Yes, and I'm saying that if you want to get the oil companies to be part of it, mustn't it be the government leading the way?
Exactly my point.
To get the oil companies to come in here.
Exactly my
because so when do they want to bring respite to the residents in there? It's just mind-boggling how we look on for these things to happen, and we don't seem to care such that we don't see this as an emergency. So you leave it for 3 months. How? People's livelihoods are cut off, and we don't bother. We don't care.
Yeah.
And this is a hunter was here in the Western Region. And they know. So what is keeping the roads minister? Again, he should go to a place called Diabene and Agric. The road was constructed, and within a year, it got bad. So bad.
I see.
Because the contractor only put on the first layer. And that's it.
On this note, I also talk about the Enumboso stretch of road.
You were there.
Yeah, I was there in the Eastern region. Yes. I was there like a month ago. So I brought that story about how the people are suffering because the road network is very bad. Now, the road to Enumboso is very critical because it produces one of the markets that we get the farm produce. If you go to the areas like Germany in the South Dai area, Honorable Dafiamako's constituency, that area, this is a fishing community, it's a farming community, and if you are using the Enumboso stretch, it's really hectic. The road is so bad. The last time I went there with my salon car, you can imagine. I had to come and change shocks.
You have to look for 4x4.
I had to change shocks. So please, Roads Ministry, we beg you, on behalf of the people of Enumboso, work on their road for them, because the farm produce are getting rotten every day. The people are raising concerns about security. I saw the contractor on cyber. I was told that it packed away because of issues of payment and all that. So please, Roads Minister, you're a very hardworking man, and we know that beyond the talking, you also work as well. So please, pay attention to the issues that we have raised here in the Western region.
In Accra.
And then your own back.
In Accra.
Eastern region.
We have the Ofanko Veterinary Roads. I went there. The road is no longer a road. And what is shocking is that elderly people cannot come out because of how bad the road is. And when they want to get to hospital, some of them have to be carried on the back of younger neighbors to be taken to, cars before they can go to the hospital. Because cars cannot enter their homes. It's shocking. And this is just Accra here, of Anko Veterinary. They said they've gone to the ministry, they've gone to highways, they've gone to...
Nothing is coming out.
Nothing. So sometimes you ask yourself, how do we see our responsibility to the people we lead? Really?
That's true. That's true.
Because everybody pays taxes. Whether you pay direct or indirect, you pay taxes. And we expect to see certain changes in our communities. If my grandmother is stuck up in the room and cannot come out because of the bad nature of the road, Who do you think how would I feel?
If you're going to talk about road network, I would develop headache now because I remember when I was in the Upper East region, I used my platform on A1 Radio to advocate the construction of the Tumu-Bolga stretch of road. And that road has been a serious headache to the people on that stretch. So this is a national road that links to, regions. And these are very critical regions or areas that we need to pay attention to. Yeah. Now, if you are going to Wa, it's better use Tamale, from Bolga to Tamale, connect to the Swala, Tuna, Kalba stretch of road, and you get to Wa, then that will be safer for you. But if you're going to use the Tumu stretch, from Bolga to Tumu to Wa, the security implication, some of the bridges are in dire states, and then moving there. I remember I was going with some friends in 2020. We were about 4 of us in that car. However, the way we felt afraid, no one was using the stretch of the road because it has been abandoned. People would want to use it. However, the road has not been constructed. And it's something that we need to continue to put pressure on them to work on it. I know one company was working on it along the line, but it's stalled. It's just a general appeal that we shouldn't wait till the election, you carry the equipment, then it will be another issue.
At least we should applaud them for some of the roads that they are doing. Yeah. We're not saying all is gloomy. Yeah. From the Labadi Road, they call it Beach Road, all the way to Lashibi to Tama area. Solid work that a contractor is doing there. Anytime I pass,
I also saw some pictures of Batiman, some asphalting. I saw them on.
Anytime I pass there, I'm like, this contractor is doing so well. The Spintex area, within Spintex community, they are doing some solid roads there, So something is happening, but we are saying that the roads that are bad are just too many.
Work on them.
Just too many. From Takrady to Agunan Kwanta, such an important road. Imbra, every day you can count more than 250 trucks carting manganese on this stretch. Exactly. Yet it is the worst, road in the western region. Why should it be so?
That's the problem at hand now. The Boku Road is still under construction. Remember that famous Boku, Bolga Boku Plumanco stretch of road. I know government has, since they came into office, they have done some significant work there. They are unable to proceed to the Plumanco stretch because we know of the security implications. So maybe we may not be able to fault them on that score, but at least there is some massive improvement on that stretch of road, the construction of the bridges and all that. At least we expect that this international trunk road that leads to Burkina Faso and Togo and all those areas.
And Cote d'Ivoire. The Takrady Agunan Kwanta one leads to Cote d'Ivoire. Yeah. And that's why you expect them to construct it.
Exactly.
I traveled to Takwa last month and I saw look, they haven't finished construction anyway, but you have to give it to them that there's been a huge improvement. Yeah. My last experience, my last bat one and my last one, comparing the two, there's been a huge improvement between them. Yeah. I saw that they were laying asphalt and they started from Apimenyim. And when I went the last one, it was Achichere. I am thinking that by now they might be in Swahib. So as for the Agunan Kwanta Takwa Road, you give it to them. They're doing some huge there. The contractor is Gabriel Kuto. He's doing amazing works. But once we applaud them for that, we say that they should look at the other important ones that needs to be repaired as well.
Very important.
Anyway, let's get to the Daily Guide News. Let's start with the Daily Guide newspaper. Right. Okay, you start.
Okay, so the Finder has the biggest story. Bawumia trumpets sacrifices, records and plans to reward the grassroots when elected. Tomorrow is the Super Delegates Congress. The election headquarters will be there to bring you the...
we are starting today.
The eve of
the AM show is going to focus more on that one. We're speaking to Kojo Poko and a lot of stakeholders. Yes, in it. And again, this evening, between 8 and 10 p.m., Evans Mensah and Winston Amwa will be here to have the special
analysis. So Bawumia is saying that he has sacrificed for the country as well as the party. He has never wavered his responsibility in good and bad times. He defended the party. We know that he actually shot into fame in 2012 during the election petition hearing. And he's one politician who has introduced data politics into the geopolitics in Ghana. Before then, we know that it was dwelling on personality, who the person is, where the person is coming from. But it's like he brought a different dimension to the politics of data. He believes in science and data on the grounds, and that is what he's known for. We know that his father has also contributed to the MPP. His father, Mumuni Bawumia, was one of the key leaders of the the Northern People's Party.
Okay.
That also gave birth to the MPP tradition of the Dankwa Buzia Dombo.
Okay.
So his father and SD Dombo were the key architects in the north, though he served in other governments and all that. So he thinks that all these sacrifices, not from himself but from his family to the MPP, it's time for him to be given the opportunity, because he's not, a neophyte in politics. He has been in the MPP for over 20 years. So those who think that he is not he's someone who is just new to the party, he has struggled for the party from the onset, and he would reward the grassroots if elected. So we'll see how the election goes tomorrow.
Let me tie that in with what the delegate is also saying about him.
Okay.
It says MPP Super Delegate Confab Ashanti Constituency Chairman, Route 4, Baumia. Delegate barred from displaying cast ballots.
I think it's part of the
we'll get into
protocols. It's part of the protocols that they actually issued yesterday, that you are not supposed to show picture. We know that it's criminal in our laws for you to show your ballot after casting. So the party is just restricting on that and asking them to go by or conform to the electoral laws. If not, you can be punished. Still on politics and the MPP Super Delegates Congress, Show Me Love on Saturday, Dr. Akoto to delegates. You know, his father was also one of the key leaders in the MPP. Honorable Balfour Say Akoto.
I think they called him more of Chami.
I see. So he wants to leave his father's legacy. He's also trumpeting on his own competence as an agric minister, what he's able to do. Now, his team has been talking about the fact that Ghana does not need to go to IMF for bailout if we had concentrated on industrial revolution. With those in the agric sector, we would definitely argue that the agric sector is the main drive behind the development of the country. So he wants to
if we are able to develop it well,
he wants to re-engineer
the potential to solve a lot of our problems.
Exactly. So he wants to re-engineer the agric sector to use that to propel the development of the country. So these are some of the issues coming in from the NPP Super Delegates Congress. Iyoko recovers 138.9 million Ghana cedis in 18 months. It comes with a picture of COP Mamiti Wado Dankwa. I think she has been phenomenal since she came to Iyoko and has also contributed her quota. And we've seen the recoveries that they have made captured in the finder here, 138.9 million. I think if other institutions were doing the same, we'll not be going to IMF or will not be thinking of support from other institutions and all that. In the NDC front, Dr. Manibuama is NDC's Director of Elections and IT. You know, they've made some reshuffling in the NDC, sorry. So he goes for that.
So let's give the full detail. Now, Vice Chairman who have been appointed to the executive committee. For the Vice Chairman, we have Professor Joshua Alabi, Dr. Samuel Sapon, and Abdul Rauf Khalid. National Treasurer is Alex Shreme. Deputy Treasurer Thomas A.C. Kuma. For NEC appointment, we have Molly Enim Ado, Margaret Ansei, that's Margo. George Kwesi Bimbi, Godfred Apisana Wombei Yellow. Alhaji Yaya Kundo, Ransford Chatman Vani Amwa. Now, the party leadership at the same meeting also gave approval for the creation of new directorate to be established to enhance the party's administrative efficiency. They have now the Directorate for Conflict Resolution, Directorate for Logistics and Protocol, Directorate for Inter-Party CSO Relations, and Directorate for Welfare. Now, they've also appointed Emmanuel Zumakbe as Director of Administration. Director of International Relations is now Alex Segbefia. Deputies Carl Ahin, Mami Ifwa Sechi Ado. Director of Communications is now Kakra Isamwa. And I wonder how that would, Sami Jemfi and this one, how would they... So
Sami Jemfi's position is elected. The other communications, that one is appointed.
Yes. So how? Because this one also has a deputy, Obobia Dakun Opoku. So how will they go about it? But I'm sure the party understands. Now, Director of Elections and IT is Edward Omane Buama. Deputies for Elections, Madi Jibril and Dr. Rashid Tanko, Computer. Deputies for IT, we have Dr. George Atabuating and Wisdom Yaira Deku. Director of Legal is now Godwin Kujo Tamaklo. Deputies, we have Baba Jamal and George Lowe. Director of Research is Professor Francis Dodu. Deputies Prosper Hoitu and Professor John Bright Aheto. Director of Special Duties, Vincent Kwagbenu, Deputy Caesar Kale, Broja Jemfi, Mohammed Atta Natongma. Director of Conflict Resolution is Ibrahim Amaliba, Deputy is Daniel Amate, Director of Interparty and CSO Relations, Dr. Peter Boama Otukono, the Deputy is Mary Ewusi, Director of Welfare, Vida Adai, Deputy is William Atamuji, and Director of Logistics and Protocol, Ludwig Roger. Deputies Mohammed Kweku Doku and Amanda Ochre, and this is signed by Fifi Fiave Kwete.
Okay, yeah. That's good to hear. I think it's part of the reorganization process towards the 2024 general election. So there are other stories captured in the Finder. If you go to page 6, leak tape on IGP committee's first day surface jolts. We know that the former Northern Regional Chairman, Daniel Bugrinabo, was supposed to appear before the committee, but we were told that he was indisposed, and then he was not able to appear before the committee. So they are still on it. But this is the first meeting that the committee has started on the issue. So we'll see how it pans out there. And minority reaches consensus with police to embark on demonstration. We know that has been received with there's a hit back there, because we know the police said that because of security reasons, the routes that they want to use, they cannot. Or they have to come back for them to have a discussion around
but
it.
But once the paper is reported, I'm sure then they have had some resolution of a sort, isn't it?
So it's still reporting from the Wednesday meeting, which I was there myself, but we know that the police still wants them to have a conversation around it, because they are raising security concerns and all the reason they don't want them to use those routes. So they have alternative routes, but the minority is already hesitant. They said that they will not listen to them. They'll still go ahead, because they think that it is an attempt to just prevent them from protesting. Because the arguments...
If they say they will go ahead, that means they won't get police protection.
When I spoke to Mahama, his point was that yes, they agreed earlier. So if you agreed at the meeting that this is a route that we use, and you say you provide us protection, why would you want to give us a last minute? And I think he even predicted it.
So the police agreed.
Yeah, what the minority told us, that at the meeting with the Greater Accra Regional Police Command, they agreed with the routes that they proposed.
Okay.
So the route that they proposed was it was a consensus. So they came and communicated that to us, and then later in the day, the police issued a statement that after that meeting with the minority, they conducted their own assessment and noted that the routes that they have proposed would be, because of security reasons, they cannot allow them to do. So it should come back for them to have conversations on the alternative routes that they want to they want to give to them. But you know, Mahama Yarka earlier spoke about the fact that people go to Flagstaff House or Jubilee House to petition. So why is it the case that Bank of Ghana or frontage of Parliament through the streets of Osu Cemetery, Makola, Kimbu, and all those? But these are the concerns coming up. We don't know what the resolution will be, but we should be expecting a meeting between the police and the minority again before the demonstration or the protest, which comes off on the 5th of September. We know that other interested groups are also part. Bernard Mona and his Arise Ghana. We have ASEPA, then they say trotro drivers, driver unions, and the ordinary Ghanaians are going to be part. So let's see how it passes.
Let's see how it goes. Now let's do the daily guide now. And the banner story is MPP delegate Confab, Ashanti Region Chairman, route for Baumia, delegate barred from displaying a cast ballot. Maslow closes Boko office over safety. Baby rescued from Achimota Forest. And celebrate Addison for saving the economy. That's according to former Central Regional.
On the Boko issue. You know, this was the first
Minister
time
Kwame Duncan.
You know, this was the first time a public institution has closed its office there, and the issues are security related. We know that last year, SNIT had to evacuate their staff there. It had to do with security related because of the situation at hand now. So we should understand that if there is instability, these are the consequences that we are going to face. Meaning, those who want to roll into Maslock will now have to go to Boga all the way from Boku. And Boku is one of the areas that they produce onion for the country. So farmers who want money and all these things to cushion up their businesses, imagine.
But how do we deal with the conflict there?
Those who are there, I mean, we know that the situation, I mean, it is not beyond repair. I mean, it's a matter of time, but sometimes the politicking too doesn't help. And we only hope that our generation will be able to change it. Because we know that it didn't start today. It has been there, and something that has to do with chieftaincy and all that. You know how people attach emotions to chieftaincy and all that. So I only hope that the Peace Council, those who matter, and then the youth leaders, they should see that, look, we have a future here. We can convince our parents. Let's see how we can solve this issue once and for all. Let's not take entrenched positions. Let's rule out our emotions and see how this issue can be solved once and for all. I can tell you that if the situation wasn't as it is in Boko, that would have been one of the biggest, trading hubs in the country.
Okay.
And we know the revenue that the GRA draws from that area. I had, some confidential conversations with one of the GRA bosses, and then he was lamenting about the fact that they are losing revenue and then all that.
How can we get the people of Boko to see this, to see that there's a possibility of them prospering, if this war or this conflict is ended, how can we get them to understand it from that point of view?
I think efforts have been made. We hope that the efforts would yield results. I know the National Peace Council and all those who matter traditional authorities have been speaking around it. It's not an issue that on daily basis they don't talk about. Yeah, so like I said, it's just a matter of time, and we expect that, the issues will be resolved to save these consequences that people are facing already. If you look at the security implication as well, we spend more on security. The Municipal Security Council spends more on security, keeping the military, the police, all those people there. It's very expensive. And that is why we as a people there should understand that these monies that we are using for security payments and arrangements could have been used to develop the area. It's already a developing area. It has the potential to blossom and contribute. And it has already been contributing. Like I mentioned about the onion. The people there are hardworking. They produce most of the staples that we eat in the country. So it's a matter of mindset conscientization, and we have to conscientize the people to understand that we should not give up. We should not give up.
Okay.
At least politics should be eschewed from it, and then we can have a lasting solution.
Okay. All right. Let's see how that goes. Now, on page 6 of the paper, it says, 2 Nigerian businessmen, Kingsley Ndefo and Emmanuel Akong, have been remanded in police custody in Tema for allegedly trafficking 11 people from Nigeria to Ghana under the pretense of providing them with good jobs. Ndefo has pleaded guilty to human trafficking. Oh, so he has pleaded.
Yeah.
While Akong has pleaded not guilty to all 3 charges brought against him. The 2 are to make their next appearance in court on September 7, 2023. According to Constable Belinda Koku, who represented the prosecution in court, the victims were recruited from various Nigerian states and brought to Ghana, where they were coerced into cyber-related crimes. The victims, who ranged in age from 20 to 34, suffered malnutrition, unhealthy conditions, and cutlass wounds on their bodies. During the raid on the accused home, the police retrieved 13 laptops and an iPad, which will be taken to the police cybercrime unit for examination. Constable Koku emphasized the importance of expediting the trial, given that the accused were Nigerians without a fixed place of abode in Ghana. She also noted that those who refused to comply with the accused orders to commit cybercrime were attacked with machetes and electric wires. Why? That's inhumane, huh?
This issue about cross-border crimes coming all the way from Nigeria to Ghana, and that's why the rent control, those who matter, should look at it critically. You have houses in Accra, not only in Accra, Kumasi, Tamale, dotted across the country. They have foreigners coming to rent. You don't know the job they are doing. There are more than 10 in one room. You don't bother to ask. All what you bother or what you think about is the cash that they give you. You don't think, and they are the people, this is one of the reasons, accommodation is very expensive in Accra and other parts of the country. So we should try to interrogate some of these issues, be our own security, try to question them, what the people are here for, get their details before you admit them into your homes and it will cross
but
national security.
Getting details before you admit them, is it going to work? But I have my home, someone comes today, I want to rent it. I want to get details.
But you need a permit. As a foreigner, you are renting, you need to get those permit, to get those details and all that.
How many landlords, know about this and are even willing to ask for?
So that's why I said where my problem is. Rent control will have to ensure that they educate the public. Ensure that you bring the landlords, tell them the punitive actions that can be taken against them if they defy them. But everyone is doing what he or she likes in the country. I'm coming to rent a room, they will just ask you, oh, free here. I say, oh, I'm from Boga, I'm from Wa, I'm from Keta, then they will say, okay, no problem.
I'm from
okay.
Guzia or
so bring 2,000 cedis a month. Then you just collect the person's money. Oh, I'm charging you two years. And that ends it. You don't even do background checks about the person and all that. So some of these things, we should start from the homes. Give the information to the police, then they can crack down on that. We shouldn't wait for the police to do the investigations. And if we don't give information, the police cannot get the leads.
Okay, there's one positive story here. 2-week-old female baby abandoned at the Achimota Forest in the Greater Accra region has been rescued. Wow. The baby, found wrapped in a polythene bag covering the head and neck, was rescued by a 4-member crew of the emergency medical technicians from the National Ambulance Service. The crew was on its way from an emergency at the West Municipal Hospital when they met the incident. According to eyewitness Alex Gather, a pastor who went to the Achimota Forest to pray came across the wrapped baby in the forest. Wow. So kudos to the EMT guys for saving the baby. Some people need some more. Others to have gotten the baby and are not interested in it. Well, interesting. How those what is. Okay.
All right, so the last paper with me is the Meridian. And then there's one interesting story captured in page 10. Miscreants later Sakumono TMA school with fecal matter as T strike. Parents are raising concerns about it. It comes to the picture of the school. The school doesn't have, apparently they don't have windows and doors to lock it properly. So when the school children close, these miscreants reportedly storm the schools or go to the school and then do their own. To the next day, they have to clean before they sit. And I mean, I can imagine how the children are able to. And this is a crowd. I'm wondering how people are able to, or these people will be able to study under this condition. It's actually a big challenge.
That's why, and this is where Sakumono.
Yeah, Sakumono.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But that's
so
why
that's the TMA primary and junior high school at Sakumono in the Tema West municipality.
Yes. I've been there. I've been to the school before. You know, sometimes I say that for those of us in the community are also part of the problems.
Yeah.
Because why do you go and do this to a school where children go to study? And they could be your younger brothers and sisters. Yeah. They could even be your children.
Joy News actually took carry this story, and then it has been reproduced by the Meridian newspaper. And I think the authorities should, the Tema West Municipal Assembly authorities should move in swiftly. Because I'm told that some laptops have also been stolen from it. Other valuable, we have the libraries, these basic schools, and all. So these laptops have been stolen, computers belonging to the school. They chiseled through the roof into the room where they were kept and bolted with the equipment. It's actually a disastrous situation on the ground.
All right. Now let's finish with the Chronicle newspaper. It says, Akoto to delegate, show me love, show me your love, you know.
Who
make the 5 more? UK rating agency puts Baumia head Alan Akoto in Japan's follow in tow. And Baptist church members holding positions are not corrupt, according to GBC president. So if you're a Baptist church member, maybe this will be of interest to you. Automation of supply, distribution of premix for already. I interviewed the, I think the administrator of the National Premix Secretariat, and he explained the importance of this. That now they can sit in Accra, and follow the premix floor from Accra to the landing beach, wherever the landing beach is. And they are limiting human interference, so that this is also by way of digitalization, so that they can follow every ounce or every liter of premix that leaves the center. And this is what they want.
What is the current state of the premix fuel? Are they getting it?
Last time I spoke to him, he said they are getting it, but it depends on the LBCs, that's the landing beach committees. That if you run out, you have to make order to the secretary.
So I think this automation is in response to the reported smuggling of the premix.
Exactly, that's it. So they want to end smuggling. Okay. Because with this automation, there will be little human interference. And even when the truck is moving the premix for, because they are able to follow the truck by just watching the interface on their computer, they're able to know that the truck left Accra at 2 a.m. and it's probably at 8 a.m. it's at Keta, or you know. So that's the importance of this premise automation that they want to do. I'm told they will be launched somewhere this month by the Vice President. So let's see how it goes. But the big thing is on tomorrow, who makes the last 5 of the MPP's 10 flag bearer aspirants.
So we have about 961 delegates who are going to cast their ballots. And I'm sure in the course of the discussion during the breakdown,
we'll give all those.
So the regional reps, we have 29. Founding members are 30, regional executives 272, constituency chairmen are 275, members of parliament are 137, regional ministers 14, and this constitutes a total of 961 that are expected to cast their ballots to trim down the number from 10 to 5 ahead of the main Congress in November.
Now, the executive president of Ghana Baptist Convention, GBC, Reverend Dr. Nina Thompson, has vouched for members of the church working in both public and private sectors of the national economy, saying they are not corrupt and do not also embezzle funds entrusted into their care by their employers.
I see.
Wow, it means that this man
Baptist
knows.
members, you are doing well.
Yeah, you are doing very well. If this is true, then Baptist members.
Then I think everyone should declare his or her religious belonging when you are getting.
So that we can tell.
So if you are, which church are you coming from, so that we know, we'll be able to track that.
Yeah, okay.
So if the Baptist church can come out to vouch for members, I think it's a good lesson for everyone out there. Protect your integrity. If you are given the opportunity to handle a public office or private,
do your best for
do
Ghana.
your best.
Okay, Samuel Mbra.
My
Thanks so
brother,
much
all the best
for today. Yeah.
Sure.
All right then. So that's how we wrap up the news review. Up next, it's sports, and today is Prime Take with Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. Stay with us.
There were some forces that didn't believe that Professor Dodo should be the president. So no matter what we did at that time, whether good or bad, people will find something negative about it. Look at the Matabisa case. Nobody ever asked, how did Matabisa win that medal? Nobody ever asked. It was the same Professor Dodo who was going through data that I produced for him. Then saw that Matabisa was constantly running 212, 211, 212, 211. So now this girl can do something. Then took her to Botswana African Youth Games.
Yeah.
At that time, the entries had even closed. But Dodo had to use his connection at the World Athletics to get her entered. He went there, then she played third. And at the youth level, they don't allow one country to present 2 athletes in one event. Yeah. So it was 2 Kenyans. So the second Kenya was dropped. And Matabisa became the second person to the Nigerian. When they came back to Nigeria, they took her from Kumasi to Accra. Camp here in Accra. And the one Professor Yando was training her. And in order to prepare her for the Nigerian, Prododo took her to the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, 2014. The bashes. But he knew what he was doing. He took her again to the African Championship in Marrakesh, Morocco. Even though she didn't do well, but she kept on improving her time. But he was preparing her for the Nigerian.
For the big one.
For the big one. Well, he got the Nigerian, he won. Nobody ever asked how did he win. And when she was going to the Nigerian, she had her per diem still with Professor Dodo around $3,500 or so. Professor Dodo. Professor Dodo gave her a laptop to study, so that he was going to give her a scholarship to go to the US. One week, the controversy started at the airport. A group of people has come from Kumasi. They already arranged to take her from the airport to Happy FM to go and do interview. The association has also organized with Joy FM for an interview, first interview.
I remember.
So that confusion started there. Whether she was going to the Joy FM or she was going to Happy FM. So at
that
time, I was the secretary. So my brother came to.
Filipino was the second, right?
No, one Dominic Kankam.
Oh, yeah, Dominic Kankam, yeah.
Yes. So at the airport, what I saw at the airport, my brother came to pick me. I said, you know, he said that to me. And you know, teacher, man, number, man. Let's go. This is trouble.
Yeah.
We just left. So I don't know how they made it. And the girl went and slept in Prophet Dodo house for 2 days. Prophet Dodo told her that she wanted to send her to the presidency to meet President Mahama.
Yeah.
So he organized.
He was a presidential staffer.
He organized it with the then minister was Mahama Yaraga.
Yeah.
He organized it. That was where another trouble started. About the 10,000 Ghana cedis. Prophet Dodo wanted to spend the 10,000 Ghana cedis.
Yeah.
And then what 10,000 Ghana cedis. And that has changed so many stories. The story developed legs, head, tails. You didn't even know what was the actual problem. But the 10,000 Ghana cedis the ex-president Mahama gave her, they went to Afrikiko to eat. The money was still with Richard Kokovi. And the mother asked for the money. Richard called the money is with me. So give it to the girl. It's the girl's money, not our money. So you give it to her. At that time, Prof had already secured scholarship for her to go to US. So Prof came there to advise the mother that they should keep some of the money in the bank, so that when she is going to the school, they can give to her as a pocket money to go to school. The man, according to the story, the mother said, no, they are not going to put the money in the bank. The money is for them, so they are going to spend the money they wanted. Then he left. Somebody overheard the woman talking to Prof Dodo and quickly called Happy FM. So Happy FM connected the woman there to speak. So the woman also said that also your first cannot to buy, your first cannot to buy. It's kind of the escape. Nobody can show you what we're going to use the money for. That was the story, and the story blew up.
I remember BBC were interested in this story.
BBC came to investigate it for 2 good years.
But they didn't do the story.
No, they couldn't do the story. Because the story, at the end of the story, it was false. 2 years, BBC interviewed, 2 years. The girl came to.
Pierre said was.
Yes.
Pierre was so interested
in
the
that. They came to Ghana here, did the interviews, and interviewed a lot of people, including former athletes, former executives. They had 2 shadows meeting interview with me, but it never came because we were exchanging emails. The emails, we changed email for 2 years. BBC did a story, investigation story for 2 years.
Did that issue affect the Ghana athletics?
Seriously. It affected us seriously. People used it, even this court case was just part of it.
Yeah, the court case.
Yes, it was just part of it. It affected us seriously. But I would have wished the girl should have stood on her ground to tell the truth. Because nobody had ever asked her any money. The scholarship that we're offering her was real scholarship. That was the same scholarship that John Mahama at that time, the President Mahama at that time, made mention in Parliament. They thought what John Mahama mentioned in Parliament was different from what Athletics Association was giving her. You know, before the President go to speak, the minister feed the President.
Yeah.
So we also feed the minister what the plan that the association have for her. She also have a scholarship. So through that, the President mentioned it in Parliament. So people thought that was a different scholarship.
They thought it was the President who was giving her a scholarship.
You see, so when that scholarship issue came up, that was where Nathan Ato did the story. In there, said it turned another issue.
Yeah. But let's talk about your rise to the CA Region 2, where you became the chief executive for that place as well. Tell us pretty quick. Your rise has been quite such an astronomical.
No, don't tell me that. No.
You suffered it.
It has never been quick.
You suffered small.
Yeah, the first time that I attended World Congress, it was in Canada, Moncton. When I was actually given a letter as Secretary General by NSA at that time. 1 month, the World Athletics has not responded or acknowledged me as Secretary General. So, Prof asked me to go to Canada. There was youth championship there. I should go and meet the Secretary General that he was called Pierre Wise. I should meet him. Maybe if I meet him, he will approve me as Secretary General of Ghana. So he asked me to go to Canada with Jonathan Ponsa. We got there late. The day that they were finishing the meeting, that was the day that we got to. So I just walked into the conference room. They had just finished. So I walked up to the high table and I asked somebody, I'm looking for PRYs. So he's the one sitting. I went and greeted him. I introduced myself. Ghana. So I've seen your email. Don't worry. I will respond to the email tonight. That was where we became friends. Before the next morning, I had received my approval. I had been a Secretary General.
Yeah.
So then he became my friend.
Yeah.
So we exchanged emails. The same year, I was asked to attend Region 2 Congress in Burkina Faso. In Burkina Faso, Ouagadougou. When I went there, I saw the executives. Everybody was French. The technical people, they were all French. By that time, Lamine Fati was also part of the thing. So I took them on. That was my first appearance. I took them on. And they told me, no, Bawa, this is how you do it. I said, no, then we have to change the constitution. So there and there, no, the constitution was changed to make, if the president is going to be French, the English has to be in English.
Oh, okay.
If the president is going to be English, the vice is supposed to be French. So that was where I started.
Oh, so you made that argument?
Yes, there.
Oh, then your president was just out.
So moving fast forward, we went to another Congress in Cameroon. That was 2011, 2012. And Papa again asked me to go and speak directly with Lamine Diak. He was the president of World Athletic President, yes. That I should speak to him directly. So I went to his son, Papa Diak. The son took me to the fight. But at that time, a lot of presidents were waiting for him. He was a king. He was a king. Presidents were waiting for me. Papa Diak just held my hand, went to the father. I said, this is a young man from Ghana. Say he wants to speak to you. So Ghana, fine, well, sit down. He was giving every president 15 minutes, but he gave me 30 minutes. That was the idea. We came and organized the Grand Prix.
Yeah.
They said, if one Ghana, we should do something big so they will support Ghana. The idea came from Lamine Diak.
Wow.
So, and there I met G. Isram. We became so good friends. So, fast forward, I was Secretary General or the CEO, but I was dealing with presidents.
Yeah.
So sometimes it becomes very uncomfortable, Secretary General or CEO, to be with presidents. And
the president is somewhere.
Somewhere. And I became so popular and so respected, not only in Africa, but even...
I witnessed it in the one we went to the World Championship in the US.
With the US. Yes. So sometimes it's probably ask me, so Bawa, your position here, you are now overgrowing your position. Why don't you become the president so that we'll push you to? I said, Prof, I'm waiting for the right time. But for about a year ago, when we finished the Congress, some of the people asked me that, Bawa, you need to become the Ghana president so that we can go with you far. You know, so you can talk, you can organize, you can argue, you talk on behalf of Africa. When we went to Doha World Championship, I was really the spokesperson for Africa. They were having meetings in my room. President could come to my room, consult me, we do a lot of meetings in my room. We know I was the CEO at that time. So some of them told, no, Bawa, you need to become Ghana president so we can do things better.
So that is the genesis of you
become the president.
Having the ambition. Because you've taken the question out of me. I was just going to ask, at what point did you decide that I should become president?
So it has been that sometimes some people even mistakenly call me president. Sometimes we come to congresses or conferences. Yeah. Some of them still refer to me as the president of Ghana. I kept on. I said, no, your work is just the president of Ghana. And that didn't come by accident. It came because Professor Dodo had given me that opportunity.
Yeah, so how instrumental has Professor Dodo been in your life in pushing you to grow in the athletic space? I cannot use words to describe it, but I said earlier, I'm always fortunate to have such good people coming along with me at every stage in my life, right from the school to when I went to prisons. When I came here, when I was in school, Charles Adama was there. And when I left school, the current regional minister of Tamale, we call him Broshani, and one guy called Abbas, he's in the US. Very good friends. We used to eat together in his house.
Go to his, after school, walk from Ghana, go to his house, a bakery, we sit, we eat, so he give a lot of fare. When I was coming to Accra, he gave me a lot of fare to come to Accra. When I came to Accra, when I came to Kumasi, when I joined prisons, I came to Kumasi, I had a very good friends in Kumasi. When I came here too, I had very good friend and very good friend, Prophet Adoni. He showed me how to write, how to package documents. He gave me the opportunity to work, and he was always have my back. One day, I told a story, one day Mr. Doko cornered him in his office, tried to convince him to remove me as Secretary General of Athletics. So I bumped into them, and I came and waited for him. Then when he came, I thought there's a huge challenge. I've given you 3 months to prove whether you can really do the work. What I told him that if he's really stand by me, I will prove my worth. But if he doesn't stand by me, I'll quit. They said I have his 100% support. And that's how it ended till now. He still have my 100% support. I still have his 100% support.
And now you're the president?
Yes.
Now you're the president. Let's talk about the presidency pretty quick. Yeah. There are certain things I would like to ask you. I don't know if you'll be very discomforted to ask, but I'll definitely ask you because it will be quite improper for me to have this conversation without asking those questions. So definitely I will ask you. But just stand by for them. Talk to me. When people began telling you that, Bawa, you've overgrown the position of General Secretary, did you feel that way?
I actually felt that way. I actually felt that way because sometimes, mostly at the zonal level or the area level is African level. I created a platform for Africans, the zonal championship, regional president and secretaries. Almost all of them referred to me as the president. I kept on telling them that, no. I said, no.
I'm a president.
Yeah, you should be the president. I said, why? I said, now what you do, your experience and your organization, the way you present cases in our congresses, in our place, we feel that if you be the president, you can lead Ghana and the rest of Africa very well. And Produdo kept on telling me about 2-3 years ago that step up, Bawa, step up. I always have the argument with him, it's not time, it's a step up.
So when was the right time?
The right time was about soon after the Congress, the Region 2 Congress.
Yeah. Was it the one at
La Palm? La Palm Beach, yes. So I told Produdo that it's time for us to move out. So yes, we are not talking. So what do we do? I said then we need to start talking to our people.
Yeah.
So we went around the country 3 times. Tried to talk to people, that engage people. And I say it as it is, very blank. So when the time came, I called them, the then president, my decision, and I'm going to contest him. But the way things are, if he will, he should support me, then we'll make him something like patron. But he didn't take it lightly. And it's normal. I didn't begrudge him. Yes, he felt that I had betrayed him.
Yeah.
He felt that he had given me opportunity to work. But my thinking and ambition go beyond that.
Yeah.
Go beyond that. And a lot of people complained about him. Even those who came to West Africa, and later after I mentioned the name, they have some way of responding to me on that. So I just want to go into details. So went to the Congress, and the Congress really did me an honor.
So, in as much as your vision was quite clear long ago, even before he assumed office, yes. Under normal circumstances, everyone would feel that my staff is betraying me. Did you betray him?
No, I didn't betray him. If I had not told him,
that's a betrayal.
That's a betrayal. Because before I even declare or put him on nomination, I called him and had a conversation with him on that. He came to office, we had the same conversation on it. I didn't betray him. It is not a betrayal. There's other issues that was also on the plate that sometimes it's not very pleasant to share those things publicly. But there are other deeper issues. What I just tell is what my aspirations were. And if I need to go to the CAA level, I can't go to CA level as a secretary general or as the chief executive. I just have to step up to be the president. So that when I'm speaking, the difference between speaking as a CEO and as a president. Even when you write to the World Athletics, the way you write as a CEO or the way they respond to a CEO, it's not the same thing as the way they respond to the president. But me, I always have a favor from the World Athletics. Anytime I request a lot of things that I request, yes, they really approve it. So if CEO, I could get those things done. If I become a president, I will get more.
So what is your vision?
My vision for Ghana Athletics is huge. My first and foremost target is to win an Olympic medal in the next 2 Olympic Games. Not this Paris, Los Angeles. My vision is Ghana to win a medal at that. And
but we don't have the infrastructure. How do you get that done?
No, we can get it done. Thankfully, they are doing Legon, and I know UCC also will do the tracks. Winneba just spoke to me yesterday that they are also going to do the tracks. So before Paris 2024, we will have a couple of infrastructure ready in Ghana here, and the Botema one is also coming up. We have the issue is not only the infrastructure. The issue is funding. And we are going to work with the state to get the funding sorted. We have the athletes, we have the coaches. All what we are needing, or what we needed now to get the Olympic medal is just the funding. I said it earlier in the year that if we get between $500,000 in a year for the next 60 years, we are going to bring a medal. Our athletes are just there. What they need is financial support. Could you imagine Daisy go to America within 1 season? He did 19.79.
Yeah. In 200 meters.
200 meters. If he had run that thing at Eugene, that could have earned him.
That was a podium.
Yeah, that was a podium performance.
Yeah, that was a podium run.
So if we support him, at least if the state can give you $20,000 a year to prepare himself for the next 4 years, this guy can win. This guy can make an Olympic medal. Azamati, Joe Paul, Samini, Dazi, Rose. There are a lot of them.
Yeah,
what we just need is financial support of these athletes.
But Baba, as CEO, if you are not able to help your president to raise this kind of money, what shows that as president you can raise the money?
No. As CEO, you don't call the shots. You're only waiting for somebody to give instruction to operate. If you got to jump that, so he did that thing without.
But you can advise.
No, you can advise. It's an advice. The advice is that they take it, or he take it, or he leave it. But as a president, you have the obligation to fund the money. You have the obligation to make your executive to believe in your vision. That's what we call effective leadership. You need to make your executive to believe in what you are telling them, to believe in what you are saying, to believe in the policy that you are implementing. So if there are edges, if there are rough edges, they will support you to smoothen that edges up. Then you proceed. And I can tell you, we will get the money, we will get the medals in the Los Angeles Olympic Games.
First 3 things Bao want to do as president, and what would you want to be known for as president of Ghana Athletics after your tenure?
I want to be known as the first president of Ghana Athletics to win an Olympic gold medal. And we will work towards it. It is a huge challenge.
But they say the politicians speak big. You are speaking big.
No.
Big talk.
I'm not speaking big. I'm not speaking big at all. Just imagine if you are able to keep these 4 athletes, give them $20,000 a year for the next 4 years. Azamati, Joe Paul, James Dazi, Boisho, Samini.
Yeah.
Whoever comes to join can come and join.
And there's Edwin Gadai,
Raymond French, 45.
Yeah.
And we have 245s currently in Ghana here. If we can get this 5 athletes and get the 4x4, the 400 meter 4 athletes, get the ladies too, give them $20,000 a year for the next 4 years. Do you think what they can do? just like how the Australians are doing.
Yeah.
They're not doing anything different.
Yeah.
The Olympic level athletes, they give them $20,000 a year to the next 4 years. So they won't bother to go and work. They
So in
will
4
think
years, $80,000 dedicated to each athlete.
To each athlete. And they will bring you the medal. That is what we are setting our target. And we will get it.
Do you also look beyond Ghana Athletics, being the president of Africa Athletics? Maybe not too far, but let's say region 2. Let's start with region 2.
You are jumping the gun.
Let's start with region 2. because but are you still holding your position as the secretary of region 2?
Yes.
President and secretary how?
No, but region 2 is bigger.
Region 2 is bigger. So
yes, no.
As president, you are president, you are
a president. You are a president of a state, and you are the secretary of the 15 countries. There's the difference.
No. So, Bawa, you go to a meeting. You go to a meeting
yes.
as president
no.
of a member of...
No. If we go to the meeting, I will go to the meeting at the Secretary General, and I have to get somebody to represent Ghana.
No. So, why not represent Ghana yourself as a president and speak as president instead of going to sit at a meeting as secretary and let someone sit there as represent Ghana?
No. Just like...
But people will tell you want to hold two positions.
No, it's not two positions. Even the current president is the president of Nigeria.
Yes, I know.
Yes, I know. So when he comes to Region 2 meeting, he doesn't sit in to speak for Nigeria. He speaks for Region 2. He doesn't speak for Nigeria.
That point well noted. Let's wrap up the conversation, Bawa.
Yes.
Quick. I want to go to the Commonwealth Games.
Yes.
In Birmingham.
Yes.
And it's an area many people actually said that it kind of attacked the goodwill Ghana Athletics had following the performance. 38.07 seconds at the World Championships in Oregon. Then, in less than a month, we had issues of athletes disqualification. And many people actually said it affected the goodwill of Ghana Athletics. What happened?
If you have asked me the most difficult time or the hardest time I had.
So you've asked yourself, just answer it.
In my stay, or me as an ambassador on athletes, I'll tell you that was the hardest day I've ever experienced in my life. It was not the court case, it was not the election, it was not that was the hardest day. Because we had made projections to win 4 medals, which was including gold medal in the 4x100.
In the 4x100, because it was doable.
Yes, that was our projection, and that thing happens. I said, I forgot to sleep that night.
You couldn't sleep?
I couldn't sleep. I didn't even know whether it was night or day. It was the hardest. Simple changing the order of run. And the courtroom was just from here to the field. Where they were doing the warm-up.
Yes.
That was where the courtroom was. Simple forgetfulness.
Who was supposed to do that? Was it an administrative thing or a technical thing?
No, it was completely technical. People don't understand there's a dichotomy between Ghana Athletics administrators and technical people, coaches. We don't determine what the coaches do. We don't determine who ran at what leg. We don't. So the confirmation, the run arrangement is purely technical, it's purely for the coaches to do.
Welcome to Accra. Here to survive, one needs to be resourceful, resilient, and master all ingenuities to create a space to call home. Meet 27-year-old Johannes. He aspires to make it big in Accra. He lives in this kiosk in the heart of Spintex, the retail hub.
I ended up here after my senior high school education. Then I called my brother that I need to work, and he said I should come. So when I came, he got me a place. I never know people used to sleep in wooden structure. I never see some before.
Johannes' journey from KJB was tarred with hope and expectation, a good job to live his dream. The Volta region of KJB for him had become stale.
I want to be a politician. I want to go and do political science.
Okay.
Yeah. But as time goes on, the dream changed. Yeah, football. So back in school, I used to play. But I've never had it in my mind because it's my passion, but I never thought of being a footballer. But when I come to Accra, I mean, training with people, going to play football at places, I say, nah, things have to change. And I try pushing myself, traveled out of Ghana.
His new estate is crammed with countless wooden structures carved out by dream hopefuls to the pathway of their desired future. And Johannes' home is one out of 140,637 locks to find their feet in the city. The limited access to proper housing forces 8.8 million Ghanaians, 27% of the population, to live in slums. The numbers are likely to go up as the urban centers continue to look attractive to the youth from the hinterlands like Johannes. It is mid-morning in the estates. Johannes and his friend Elijah get ready to go to work at the biscuit factory located about 500 meters from where they live. Their estate is a gold mine of cheap labor for the factories and shops in the neighborhood, which they mine every now and then for their businesses. As a factory mechanic, Johannes earns a little above 1,000 cedis a month. This caters for his rent, remittances to his family, and everyday expenses.
There are a lot of things in my mind to achieve, but here, like the case, I have siblings in school, one in nurses training, recently one completes senior high. So they do call, I may say, our dad is no more. So it's like pressure is on.
With more than 5.4 million residents in Accra trying to make ends meet, Johannes is carefully looking to carve a niche for himself. He's working on opening a bread shop in addition to his factory work.
Where the system push you to, that's where you move. Yes. Now the system is hard. You can't decide to make things comfortable for yourself. It's impossible. Yeah. So when the system strikes, you strike.
The aim is to amass enough money to further his football career outside the country.
I have a work, my handwork, I bake bread. So right now, that's what I want to focus for now. I want to get container and then buy materials and start baking. Then I'll see the way forward. I really won't rely on company money, the place I work, but I see that no, it can't match.
His friend Elijah wants to further his education and eventually become a journalist.
When you wake up in the morning, all we do is maybe go to the farm. After farm, you come, you eat. Yeah, you go out, you play, come back to the house, bath, you sleep. That was the life there. Yeah, but since we have to move forward, that's why we came to Accra to search for something small.
From humble beginnings at Hohoi in the Volta region, Elijah also sojourned from his hometown in search of a better education.
Well, we all know that Accra is the center for business. Yes, we have a lot of businesses here. And you know, back in Hohoi we don't have much companies. Unlike Accra where we have companies that you can work and earn something.
He met Johannes here in the slums, and they've been inseparable since. His meager salary from the biscuit factory is spent mostly on food and transportation. He can hardly remit to his family back in Hohoi.
Mommy will call, I'm not feeling well. Daddy will call, I'm not feeling well. You have to push. Since you are in Accra and they are in the village, when they call you for assistance, you have to, because they feel you are okay. They don't understand that this is what you are going through.
But Elijah hasn't lost hope in a better future. He still guards his journalism aspirations jealous.
Okay, I still have the hope of becoming a journalist.
So have you put in place plans to reach there?
Well, yes, I would say yes. I've put down plans to get there. I believe in 2 to 3 years' time, I should be able to reach there.
A difficult life here in the city has pushed many of his counterparts to resign themselves to labor-intensive works. Some have collaborated to create small trading enterprises, but Johannes has big ambitions.
I've been doing some investment. So with that, I will gather it and do my personal business. So I will support the business with where I work, the little I gain from there. Yeah. Have the courage that to help me move wherever I want to go.
Okay.
As they head off to work today, the two discuss plans to check out of the wooden estate they call home into a blooming future in the next couple of years.
All right, so welcome back from the break there. And let's now get into the MPP's special delegates conference coming up on Saturday. They have 10 flag bearer aspirants and they're going to prune them down to 5. So who amongst the 10 will join the last 5? Let's share with you, all that we've gathered on the candidate and what it means. Now, there are 10 people who are vying for this. Now we have Kennedy Ejapon, who is the Member of Parliament for Asin Central. We have Alan Chamanting, former Trade and Industry Minister. Joe Gate is MP for Iskado Keteng constituency and former Railway Development Minister. Kwapong is an energy analyst. Dr. Efrie Akoto is a former Agri Minister. Kwabene Ejapon is a former General Secretary of the party. Honorable Adai Nemo is also a former Member of Parliament. Dr. Kofi Kunedo-Apreko has been around for a very long time, a former Minister of State. Boache Jako is a former Minister of Energy, the first Energy Minister for Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo when he assumed the reins of power. Dr. Mahama Bawumia is the Vice President, and he is amongst the 10. Now, what are the polls saying? Global Info Analytics has put out the findings of their research, and the question is who leads the MPP. Per their findings, Dr. Mahama Bawumia is leading the race with 36%. Alan Chamanting comes next with 33.30%. Kennedy Ejapon, the man who's regarded as a grassroots man, is third with 24.80%. Kwabena Eje Japan comes next with 1.5%. Dr. Efrie Akoto comes up fifth with 1.10%. Boache Ejapon comes next with 0.90%. Kwadwo Poku comes next with 0.70%. Joe Gate comes next with 0.70%. Dr. Kofi Kunedo-Apreko comes next with 0.60%. So if you're looking at the position, it means that Baumia first, Alan second, Kere Japan third, Kwabena Japan fourth, Dr. Friakoto fifth, Boache Jako sixth, Kwajo Pokum seventh, Jogate eighth, Kunedo Apreku ninth, Adainimo is 10th with 0.40%. So that's what the Global Info Analytics is saying. So who makes the first 5 per their research? Okay, so who lead the MPP? But if you are looking at the first 5 of it, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia will come first with 33.30%. Alan Tremantin will take the second spot with 7.70%. That's a huge gap there. Kennedy Japan follows third with 4.30%. Kwabena AJ Japan comes fourth with 1.80%. And Dr. Efriye Akoto would come fifth with 0.60%. So that is what the Global Info Analytics survey is pointing to. All right. Now, let's come into the studio, and we have one of the aspirant, Kojo Pokun, who is an energy analyst and a first-timer joining me in studio. Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning, my brother. How are you?
I'm well. And yourself?
Very well, very well. Just got back into the city yesterday, last night. I was in Takoradi to wrap up my campaign. I'm back.
You have an election tomorrow.
Yes.
How's the feeling like?
Oh, very great. Look, I'm very happy with myself because I think I've done the work that I need to do.
Okay.
If I have not done the work I wanted to do, then I'll feel a bit down and I think I've not done enough. But I think I've done what I need to do. And we just have to wait for the delegates to prove us right that we've done the work.
Okay. All right. Now, joining us via Zoom is Dr. John Osai Kwapong. He's a CDD fellow. Good morning and welcome.
Morning. Thank you very much for having me.
I guess our young ladies are not disturbing, huh?
No, they are asleep.
Nice to have you. Let me start with Kojo. So, you've gone round. You've interacted with the people. What is it looking like?
Well, one thing I can tell you for sure, that Global Info Analytics, they sat in their room and did that survey. And look, everybody should take my word. Come tomorrow evening, those guys should not be allowed to publish anything in this country again.
Really?
I'm telling you, I'm saying this on joy. Global Info Analytics are just guys who just basically are paid guns to sit in their room and write whatever they want. Don't take my word for it. Let's wait till what happens tomorrow. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they have a voodoo where they can conjure things and it comes through. But I'm telling you that what they put out there is completely wrong. Look, there are margins of error in statistics, and they are way out of their margin of error. To look at what is going on the ground as we have it today and put those numbers as what you have done, brother, I'm sorry. I'm telling you.
So you are coming back from the ground.
Yes.
Let's understand how the picture is looking.
Okay, so the picture is that, look, there isn't going to be a runaway winner. It's going to be a very competitive election tomorrow. People are discounting the reality on the ground, thinking that it doesn't matter. It does. The MPP party is in government, but there are people within the party that feel far away from government.
Okay.
So for people to think that all is well and they are going to see certain individuals get certain huge numbers because they are the most known or the most popular, well, like I said, tomorrow is 24 hours at most.
Yeah.
Let's wait and see.
That will be right only if indeed, like you said, they sat in the room and did it. But if they went to the ground...
They did not. I'm telling you, and I'm putting on record, they did not go to any ground. But you don't take my word for it. Wait to see the results tomorrow evening. Then you now say, this boy knew what he was talking about.
Okay.
It's not.
So from the ground, you are making the fact.
On the ground, these numbers are nowhere reflective of what's on the ground. Look, there are certain names that people know. There are certain names that will be in the 5. But they will not get those numbers that they put out there. It's not reflective of anything. You see, like I said, if you go to the ground and you do a top 5 survey and you come back and give these numbers, who have been talking to the delegates, and they tell me the state they are in, and it's one or the other.
Okay. All right. So it's the AM show. We're talking about the MPP's national special delegates conference that's coming up tomorrow to whittle down the 10 aspirants to 5. And I'm in studio with Kwapong, who is one of the aspirants. And on Zoom is Dr. John Osai Kwapong. He is a CDD fellow. In between time, we'll be speaking with the Director of Research and Elections for the MPP, Evans Nemako, Dr. Ransford Jampo, who will also be joining us, and we'll be crossing over to Kumasi to bring you, what is happening in the Ashanti region as well. Let me bring in Dr. Osai Kwapong now. Doc, as we gear towards tomorrow, what's your expectation like? What should the party be considering in deciding on who becomes part of the 5? Doc, kindly unmute for us so we can hear what you're telling us.
Yes, I've unmuted. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. So I'm sure one of the things that would definitely be on the minds of the super delegates would be which of the candidates they believe would present them with the best chance of holding on to power come the 2024 election. So I'm sure that's one of the things that definitely they'll be thinking about. I'm sure they would also be, thinking about all of the, the 10 things like who has built enough, connections with the party, connections to the grassroots, how deep their investment is in the party in terms of their time, their commitment over the years, etc., etc. I'm sure they would factor all of those things in. For me, the key thing some of the key things that I'll be looking for is to see not just who emerges in the top 5, but what the margins would look like, among the top 5. Because I think that would send some kind of a signal. I mean, I know these are just almost 960 delegates, and there's a much bigger electoral college that would decide the eventual fate of the 5 who emerge, come November. But it will be interesting just to see not just who wins, but the margins by which they win, and whether the bigger electoral college then will be taking some signals from the super delegates tomorrow. But I think these will be some of the things that will be on the minds of the super delegates tomorrow as they try and prune the 10 down to 5.
Kwajo, so why must the delegate, choose you to be among the 5?
Well, let me quickly inform my brother something. Look, he shouldn't look and take anything from the margins. We are all aware of, and some of us have come to the realization that there's going to be one candidate that's going to get a very big margin. Because if you look at the album, and the number is 955, not 958, the total number of people who are going to vote is 955. Okay. A chunk of that is basically shaped in a certain direction, okay, which we all know that one candidate will get a very big margin. For me, that doesn't bother me. I think that what's going to happen tomorrow is that there are going to be 5 winners. And all those 5, it doesn't matter what anybody gets. If the person gets 98 and somebody gets 2, somebody gets 3, everybody that makes through the 5 is a winner. Nobody should read meaning into that analysis, because statistically, 955 cannot be a representation of 230,000. Because it's not even 1% of the bigger number in November 4th. November 4th, you have 230,000 people going to vote. Tomorrow, you have 955 people going to vote. If somebody gets, let's say, upward of 60% of that number, nobody should read into it that because that person got over 60% of 955, it's a representation of what the person is going to get in the 230,000. Because the majority, the 198,000 of the 230 are not even involved in this election. So you have the polling station executives, you have the electoral area coordinators who makes up to about 200,000 of our electoral college, and they are not involved in this election. So how they will vote, nobody in the 955 can dictate to those people. So nobody, like I want to inform him that nobody should inference that because somebody will get an upwards of 60% tomorrow is a translation to what the person will get in November 4th.
That you think the outcome of tomorrow will not have any repercussion whatever?
No, not at all. No. If anything, if anybody gets overconfident, knowing that, oh, I got over 60% in August 26, so I'm going to get 60% in November 4th, good luck to that person. But I am telling you that from my work and from my exercise with interacting with everybody, those at the grassroots, because if there were some, let's assume that the electoral area coordinators, if in this election we are doing tomorrow, electoral area coordinators are supervisors of the polling station executives. So if the electoral area coordinators were part of tomorrow's election and somebody gets a certain margin, then you can infer that, then the thinking among the electoral areas, which the polling station sits, okay, it gives you an idea. They are not involved. The person involved is the chairman of the constituency.
And the chairman represents
the chairman of the constituency. No, the chairman of the constituency have no influence, none whatsoever, in most of the constituencies, not all, most of the constituencies. The chairman. Look, these grassroots, that's why we call them grassroots for a reason. They sit there, they do the legwork, they do the door-to-door, and they are deeply upset. So, look, let's not undermine the temperature and the feelings of the people at the grassroots. Anybody that takes that for granted and think that the elite in the party, and the superdelegates are the elite in the party, okay? They are the elite, the chairman, the national executive, the regional executive, they are the elite. If they think that they are going to determine who becomes the next leader of the party, anybody who infers from that has a next thing coming. But let me go on to your question why I think people will vote for me. Look, I have built a certain level of relationship with delegates. And that relationship for me is going to change the face of politics in this country. Politics of where use and dump. Somebody comes to you, they want something from you, and then that's the only time that they know you, right? So you now listen to them, you do what they want, and afterwards, you can't call them, you can't text them, they are not your friend.
Okay.
I, Kojo Poku, am changing that. I am changing that whereby I am building a relationship and a family with these delegates, where it's not only do I know them, they also know me. So there is a two-way communication at all times among all delegates. My number, which is my personal number for 20 years, is on all my platforms. Anybody on that platform sends a message, I reply. Anybody on that platform makes a comment, I reply. I'm probably the only candidate who is on most of the MPP platform personally, not through agents or reps. And I'm always interacting with these people on the platforms. So there's a new sense of politics coming.
It's not because you are new and you want to make inroads.
Why? Why am I new and want to make? I'm not new. I mean, I've been doing that with my business. Hold on, I'm just saying that I've been doing that in my business. Okay. Everybody I've interacted with, everybody that knows me knows that you call me, I pick up, you send a message, I reply. It's not new to make inroads. My point is that most politicians think that somebody calling you or sending you a message is a disturbance. It's a nuisance. I see it otherwise. People calling you are calling you for three things. One, to check up on you. Two, to probably get a direction or advice on something. Or three, to ask for help. I can attend to all three. You are greeting me, I'll greet you back. You want advice, I'll give the advice. You're asking for help. If I can, I'll help. If I can, I'll find out somebody who can help you. Nobody can help, I'm sorry. This time, not possible. Very simple. It doesn't matter how many calls or how many messages that comes through. I, Kojo Poku, deals with it. That is the difference, and that is what I bring to politics. And people keep saying, the calls are plenty. The calls are plenty. If you don't want the calls to be plenty, don't get into elective position. I, Kojo Poku, I'm a CEO and a chairman of a lot of multinational companies. In my setup, I dictate who calls me and who doesn't call me. You come to my office, you ask for my number, I say, look, sorry, we can't give you boss's number, right? In politics, it's different. You cannot do that. Because you are an elected person, and I knew this before I came into this space, that if you get into that space and your number is out there among 200,000 people, you are going to get 200,000 text messages and phone calls. You must be prepared to deal with it. And I'm prepared to deal with it. Maybe you can't pick all calls, but thank God for WhatsApp. For WhatsApp, I can reply 100, 200, 300,000 messages when I sit. It doesn't matter. Scroll through, reply the ones you want to reply. The groups, if you want to look at them, fine. But do not ignore people. Not when they have helped you to get to an elected position. That is what I bring to the table.
Is it enough to win the party the power they look for in 2024?
Well, to win the party the power is somebody with ideas, somebody that understands the economy, somebody that understands the energy sector. Look, energy sector today is 60% of the economy, right? If electricity price is going up 1st of September, everybody's worried. Petrol prices go up the last window, everybody's worried. And I, Kojo Poku, understand that more than all the 10 people. I know how to bring in new policies to reduce the fuel prices, to make sure that we revamp the BDC OMC situation, to make sure that, look, that has not helped. When Kufuor introduced it, they had a certain mindset. The BDCs and the OMC thing has not worked, so that needs to be reformed. And that will basically bring relief to Ghanaians. The energy sector, we need PSP in the power sector to basically make sure that customer service is 100%, and we get investment to reduce the losses, which is the technical and commercial losses, from over 29% to less than 15%. I, Kojo Poku, understand that. So that's an area that Ghanaians can be comfortable that if I'm the one leading the party, we're going to get relief in those areas. Then you go to all the other economies. I have talked about my early childhood education, where I think that no child is born not clever. Every child is born. Whether he's clever or not clever determines the leadership and where the person is born. So I want to start early childhood education, where we have the good curriculum for nursery, the good curriculum for early primary, then make sure that public primary schools are habitable. Today, they are eyesores. Public primary schools around the country are eyesore. You won't take your child there. So I want my family to be able to take their kids to the public school, the sitos that our parents went to. I want that thing to come back. That's the only way you reduce standard of living. Today, most people in Accra are looking for extra money to pay dollar to take their kids to these private schools. If we now go back and we have FCube, right? Free compulsory primary education, universal education. So primary school is free. So the only reason I'm looking for more money to take my kids to private school is because I won't take my kids to the free school. It's an eyesore. So I need to fix that. And when you fix that, the civil servants and the average middle class will be able to take their kids to this primary education and save that money. Otherwise, they'll give to the private school. Today, if you go to East Legon, the most emerging business is these nurseries and these early primary educations. Why is that? Because nobody wants to take their kid to the government school, which is free. So we need to fix it. And I want to fix it.
You're fixing it throughout Ghana. How are you going to do it?
How am I going to do it? How? With money, finances? Look, my brother, I have said that we need to save money. All the debt that we have in this country, we never got into that debt because we thought we'll pay through our taxes. We got into that debt because we found oil. In 2007, we found oil. 2011, we did first production. We went to the international bond market with a document saying that, please, we have found oil. Give us money today. In 10 years, we'll have increased our oil production and we'll be able to pay off this loan you're giving us. What has happened to the oil finder we had in 2007 and production 2011? We started off with 120,000 barrels a day production in 2011. Today, where are we? Still 120,000. Why? Because we've put in politics, we've put in nuisance, we've put in all the things that basically is not supposed to be in there. Most of the companies have come and left. ExxonMobil. Don't let anybody tell you why Exxon left. Exxon is now in Guyana. And the Ghanaian community in the oil and gas, from MPA to everybody, is going to Guyana, that they are going to help Guyana to do whatever. Meanwhile, ExxonMobil, that you are saying that he left because of energy transition, ExxonMobil is the one in Guyana. ExxonMobil did not leave Ghana because of energy transition. Oil companies are not leaving anywhere because of energy transition. They left because they didn't like the politics in the oil sector. So I want to change that, and I understand how to change that. So if I increase the production from 120,000 to 500,000, in this last budget, we had $1.4 billion as a contribution from our oil proceeds. At 120,000 barrels a day, we got $1.4 billion. Imagine if we are doing 500,000 barrels a day. That times 4. So 14 times 4 is what? 64 billion. $6.4 billion a year. If you increase your oil production from 120,000 to over 500,000, you will get over $6 billion into your what? Your budget. That is how you fix your infrastructure, and that is how you fix all the problems that I want to solve. So it's not about coming in and saying that, look, I think we should reduce taxes. If we don't reduce taxes in this country, look at the ports. We need to reduce import taxes at the ports because it's really what? Stifling growth. We will not have growth in this country and the economy will not boom if we don't reduce taxes. But the policy of this IMF and all the things that is happening is making us do what? Squeeze water from a rock. Ghanaians don't have money. We've drastically reduced disposable income. So now, after work, if you don't go straight home and you go and suck one beer, there'll be a problem.
All right, great. Let me bring in Dr. Osei Kwapong here. So for the MPP delegate, what should occupy the mind tomorrow when he is in the box to select which of the 10 will be part of the 5?
Thank you. So, I mean, real quick, in response to Mr. Kwejupuku. So, I don't think the point I'm making is that what happens tomorrow at the super delegates is what would determine what would happen in the bigger electoral college of almost about 230,000 voters in November. But there's also, a certain psychological dynamic that tends to operate, in politics, right? I mean, whoever emerges the winner tomorrow or in the top 5 definitely, as a matter of politics, will try to claim some, quote unquote, some sort of momentum. Nobody really knows at the end of the day what these delegates would really do. They give reception to everybody, who shows up. But again, for me, as a matter of observation and curiosity, it would just be interesting to observe some of those dynamics and whether the bigger electoral college will or will not, take any cues or not from what happens tomorrow.
Okay.
In terms of what the super delegates would have, on their mind, but even beyond the super delegates, I think the key thing for the MPP electoral college, as they figure out who should be their flag bearer for the 2024 election, will definitely be, as I've mentioned, I'm sure the primary thing on their mind is breaking the 8. Right. So if they look at all the 10 candidates, who do they think has the best chance of allowing them, to break the 8 will definitely be, I think, the thing that, or at least in my opinion, I think that is what is going to drive the dynamics, of this race. Who can they hedge their bets on to allow them, to break the 8? But again, intra-party democracy is such that you never know what other dynamics or thinking, may be going in the minds of delegates and what they might do to, to torpedo this race. I have regularly said, and I don't have the benefit of any scientific polls or anything, but I have regularly said that for me, I will be very surprised if Dr. Bawumia doesn't do well tomorrow, pull it off, and doesn't pull it off ultimately in the primary. I've regularly said that. I think he's the establishment's candidate, he's the establishment's preference. Sure, the delegates may or may not do what the establishment wants them to do. They may want to go in a very different direction. But if I were to hedge my bets on any of the candidates pulling it off tomorrow in first position and pulling it off ultimately in November, my bet would be, on Dr. Bawumia. So again, I think for me that is what will be going in tomorrow. Of course, I'm sure there are other things that the super delegates may, and even the bigger electoral college may have on their mind, come November.
I mean, there's been talks about who can face off with, former President John Dramani Mahama, because he is the one on the ticket of the NDC. So with that in mind, And a lot of people say, well, there are people in this government who are the reasons why we are where we are, and so they shouldn't be part of it. If you look at the 10, I mean, who really can face off with John Mahama, that the delegate should look at that person and say, well, we should get this person?
So, you know, among the candidates, right, anyone who has served in this government and given the challenges that we faced over the last couple of years, definitely would be tied to the governance and economic outcomes that we have experienced over the last 7 years. And so they would face a challenge there in terms of how do they, they can't throw their party under the bus in campaigning nationally, right? At the same time, they would have to embrace the government. So they face a dilemma of how do I embrace what has happened in the last 7 years, whilst at the same time not coming up as throwing my party under the bus. So if that was going to be an albatross around the neck of any of the candidates, and therefore it would torpedo their chances of helping the NPP break the 8, then in an ideal world, the delegates might as well go for any of the candidates who are not part of this, government. Do you see what I'm saying? So the likes of, Mr. Kwejo Poku, Mr. Kwabneji Ejepol, they are still MPP, but at least they can extricate themselves from the albatross of not being part, of the party. So any of the candidates, particularly those who served in this government, are definitely going to have an uphill task, in going against former President John Mahama, specifically on the issues of the economy and how the economy, has turned out. And so who is there, who gives them the best chance to go against
John Mahama?
John Mahama. If the economy had been in a good shape, different story. But the way the governance outcomes have turned, I don't know which candidates to pick. Like I said, unless it's one of the outsiders, right? One of them who was not part of this government and therefore can escape that albatross that will be hanging around their neck, trying to explain to, Ghanaians in the general election that, look, I'm different, I can do it differently, I can produce different outcomes, because the question that would be thrown back at them by the Ghanaian voter is, well, this is your government, this has been your government, these are the pinch points that we've experienced, and how do you explain, the extent to which you can do things differently? So I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure which candidate I can stick my neck out for at this point in terms of who can give the former president a run for his money, quote unquote.
Okay, so it will be quite a difficult, contest there. But let me bring in head of political desk here at Joy News, Evans Mensah, to help us out with how the whole thing will be tomorrow. Evans, good morning, welcome.
Good morning.
So even before we go into how the coverage will be, I mean, you've monitored the landscape for quite a long time. What do you make of this contest tomorrow, and what would be occupying the minds of the delegate on who they should allow into the last 5?
If you put in the context of a presidential primary that elects a presidential candidate, tomorrow's contest is not a big deal. It's not as significant in the bigger scheme of things. Okay. It's only significant because it whittles down the number to 5. But beyond that, it shouldn't be such a big deal, because the real race is in November. And in fact, many of the aspirants who have been studying the field are looking beyond the Saturday. That is, if you are confident of winning, you're looking beyond Saturday. So tomorrow shouldn't be such a big deal. And that is why it's only just 900 people out of the 200,000 of the delegates who are going to cast their ballots is Special Electoral College. So you don't expect tomorrow to be as acrimonious as what we'll possibly see after the fight has been whittled out. But for two of the candidates, tomorrow can be a big deal in terms of the margin of either topping or coming second. And I'm talking about Dr. Bawumia and Alan Kyerematen. For Dr. Bawumia, he wants an overwhelming victory. He wants something north of 70%. If he gets that, he would say that going into November, he obviously has the momentum on his side. For Alan Kyerematen, he wants to bring that number down to a level in terms of Bawumia's number. He wants to bring it down into a level where Bawumia will have to start panicking, because among the 900 people voting, and these are the elites of the party, there is a sense that, and we've seen going into this and the complaint that have come, that a significant number of that are people who are aligned already to Dr. Bawumia's camp. And we've been reading some of the regional chairmen already declaring for Bawumia today, the papers, etc. So that is the view, and that is why there's a sense that this must be a very strong showing for Bawumia. If it isn't, there is going to be a problem down the line, because when the 200,000 people now begin to show up and vote in November, it could be. So that's the only reason why it's going to be interesting for the two. The other three who will form the five, many have said that you want to put in there Kennedy Japan, and he could possibly be a kingmaker down the line, right? And so that is important for him too. And then the other two, whichever that is, they will also look at the numbers to see in November, can I be a significant player in possibly pushing this into a runoff? So depending on your strength and your constituency, your permutations are different.
Okay. So how's our coverage going to be like?
So we are starting tonight. We're starting tonight at 8 to 10 p.m. with our Election Eve special. And this is an analysis show. We want to delve into the numbers, look at the trends, and help our audiences understand the entire contest and the field before the day. So when you join us at 7 a.m. on Saturday morning, you have a great appreciation of what is about to happen. You know who the front runners are. You know who is possibly likely to win and come in second. You know who possibly is going to be getting into the top five and who may be falling off. So you are really settled. So you follow the process with great context and appreciation. That is why Election Eve specials are important for us. So we've done a lot of great work, some great research, looking at the MPP primaries over the years since 1992 and drawing the trend analysis. So that is what we'll be doing for 2 hours tonight. We're going to be having the party's communications director join us towards the end of it, so it helps us with preparation ahead of tomorrow. So we'll have the full picture by close up tonight. And this is going to be on the Joy News channel and also on the Joy FM platform as well, and across our many social media platforms. And so that's tonight. And then tomorrow, we begin at 7 a.m. We're going to be crossing to all our correspondents across the country. There are 17 voting centers across the country, and we'll be in all of them. I mean, there are 2 of them in Accra alone, the national headquarters, and then YMCA will be at also. And then the picture will flow from the rest of the country, and we'll be there to cover everything whilst it happens. And we want to be in a position to give you a clearer sense of this by the time the voting ends at 1. And we're going to be having party executives joining us all the way from 7, walking us and navigating us through the processes. So those who will be joining at 7 will understand the process. Also going in 9, the voting starts. Something that Ayini will take over with News File and give us the essential developing and breaking news stories up until 12, when we take over again with full coverage getting into 4 p.m. when we hope to wrap this up, by which time we should know whose presidential ambition has been terminated and which fight is going into November.
Okay, all right. We look forward to tonight's show and tomorrow as well. Thank you so much, Evans Mensah.
Thank you.
Evans is the head of our political desk here at Joy News in studio. So I mean, 961 per the
955.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
You have the old sheet.
Oh.
It's 9:55.
Okay, so this is
it's been whittled down because
okay.
we had some issues with some people that were not supposed to be in the album.
Okay.
So the last number that came out is 9:55.
Oh, okay. So what I have here
is the old calculation.
Old one.
Yes.
Okay.
The latest that came last, I think 2 days ago, is 9:55.
Okay. Like Mr. Kwapong said, all the people who have been part of this government will definitely have a tough time. So it means that those who have not, including yourself, probably have the chance. If you look at those who have not, Kennedy Japan, Kwabene Japan, Adaini Mo,
Dr.
Preku, and yourself, you're like 5. Why must it be you?
Okay, so let me quickly say something to Evans, my brother. They shouldn't read too much inference into historical, because superdelegate is only been done once. It was only done in 2014. And in 2014, we had a very giant, imposing figure in the name of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And in that, he got over 90% in terms of the superdelegate. The times were different. We're in opposition. We've basically had a candidate for the last 2 elections, 2008, 2012. And basically everybody felt that, look, let's stick with the same person going into 2016 because it will be the best for the party and all that. If they read so much inference into the historicals of what has transpired in terms of superdelegate, they will probably get it wrong. But I mean, they always have a way of basically giving a good show to their viewers. So I just want to sound a word of caution to them in terms of making some conclusions based on the historical, because the historical data is a bit biased as compared to what going forward is going to be.
No, we've not even put it out. How do you say it's biased? Anyway,
no, I'm saying it's biased because in 2014, the number of the aspirants...
I'm not sure it's only going to be on the superdelegate. There are several things that...
what they are going to do their analysis on is superdelegate.
Watch it tonight and see.
No, I'm just sounding a word of caution that they shouldn't do so much inference in what has happened in the past to what is going to happen tomorrow. It's just a word of caution. You said, why should it be me? Look, I have always said that to run this country and to basically have the multifacet of problems, you need to have somebody who's energetic, not to sit in the air condition to do the work, have in-depth knowledge and understanding, 360 view of the problems of the country, and I do. People see me mostly as an energy expert, and they mostly see, but most of my campaign rounds and most of my conversations when I go on the ground, I don't talk about energy. I talk about education, I talk about health, I talk about GREC, I talk about all the reforms I will do in all the various sectors of the economy. And in most part, saving money, not going on that borrowing spree in the finances of the country. So you need a young man who understands, have a 360 view of all the economy, not somebody who sits there and doesn't have a clue and has to rely on advisors, because we've seen what happens when advisors mislead you. So that is why I think that I'm the best suited to do this thing. People say, oh, but you don't have any experience, you've never been an assemblyman or MP before. Everybody keeps saying that to me, Kojopoku. Meanwhile, the people everybody is touting to run the country has never done that thing either. Dr. Bawumia has never been anything. He's only been a banker, then became a vice president. Nothing in politics. No MP, no assemblyman, no constituency person, nothing. Alain Chamatin, same thing. Nothing. Became an MP, became a minister, right? And then now running for president. So when they said that to me, I'm confused because they say, no, we don't have any experience. And everybody should realize that nobody has presidential experience until you are president. Even when you do internship, where the man travels for 5 days and you now sit there and you are not the president. Presidential experience is only the person who is president. So even if you are vice, even if you are minister, you go to cabinet, you do not have any presidential experience. Nobody does presidential internship. So we should stop that thing where people look at me and say that, oh, but you don't have any experience. What experience? No, I have successfully run my own businesses for the last 20 years, and they are all successful. And business and governance are the same. You need to drive profit. You need to have good corporate governance in government.
So the people in there will mention to you, I mean, when you speak to Alan Chamatin, he will tell you, as a trade minister, I've done 1D1F, I've done vehicle assembly plant. A great minister will say, I've done planting for food and jobs.
Did he do it, or the private sector did it?
Well,
he didn't do it.
He would say that I've done.
No, he didn't do it.
Vice President will talk about digitalization and all that.
He
I've
didn't
done.
do it.
I mean,
he didn't. Look, let me.
There is something. Railways and all that.
My brother.
So, I mean, examples.
Okay, so let me give you an example. I understand IT 100% more than the vice president. Go back and check history. In 2000, when we were doing Y2K, I was an advisor to the government on Y2K. My background, really, I've had 5-6 years work in IT. I work with soft. Go and ask Herman and Joe Jackson. When it comes to IT, digitalization, I understand it 100% than the vice president. Me, I can strip down a computer and put it together and wire a whole company for networks. I did Novell. So I was once a network administrator. Look, when people come to you with things and you accept it and you go and announce it, doesn't mean you understand it. When you are a minister and then there's a policy of 1D, 1F and companies put up their factories and you think you understand industries, no. When you minister of railway, you understand railway? No. You see, let's not tout these things when people do not. Anybody should interview the vice president on technology. Anybody should interview them on the areas they are in to see if they understand the technology that drives the digitalization that he talks about. Does he understand the works? Does he know what IJ45 is?
Is this on authority? Are you saying all of this?
Yes, because what is his background? He's a banker.
But it doesn't mean he doesn't
know.
What is your background?
That's the point. My background transcends a lot of areas. My brother, I know him. I'm telling you, I know him. He was a banker at Bank of Ghana. Then he became vice president. Then he's now he's become a running mate and vice president. We know Alan Chamatin. He's been a business, he's a lawyer. We know all these people, and Jogate is a lawyer. I Kojo Poku, I'm a 360 guy, I'm a hustler. I have been a contractor. I have been an IT professional. I am now an energy expert. I have run energy companies for 23 years. I have done defense transactions at the Ministry of Defense. So it tells you that in my 20 years of waka in this country, nobody on that 10 has done what I have done. It's a fact.
Really?
Yes.
So you're trying to say that all of them...
I'm telling you that when it comes to practical experiences in the field of business, in all these sectors, they don't. Go and ask what the CPU is. Go and ask the vice president what the CPU is. No, I'm just telling you.
Even my kid who is in class 4...
No, because he's been taught what a CPU is. But the point I'm trying to get across is somebody should one day interview him and ask him what's a Pentium 45. They should ask him, what is Pentium? Listen, when we have Windows 360, before we got to Windows 85, right? When we have the 286 and the 386 computer, before we got to Pentium, I was assembling computers.
But you see...
No, let me land. So when it comes to networks, what drives digitalization? What drives networks? I understand it ditto. So listen, what I'm trying to put across is that you ask me why it should be me. And I'm giving you why it should be me. I'm saying that of all the people, none of them have done the hustle I have done in my life. I'm the youngest, but I have hustled in various sectors more than any of them.
You see, but the leader doesn't mean you have to know it all.
No.
You have to be able to manage a team.
Yes.
To achieve your objectives.
Yes, I agree.
So if, for example, the Vice President, the Minister for Railways Development, Alan Chamanting, Dr. Afriya Koto, were managing their teams to achieve the objectives.
So you're walking back. You're walking back what you said. You are telling you are walking it back. Okay. So what you said was that this person have done this, this person have done this, this person have done this.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you that nobody has presidential experience until you've been president.
Okay.
But you said that this person have done 1D, 1F.
Yes.
This person have digitalization. And I'm saying that when you go down that lane, then I, Kujupoku, have practical experiences in doing those things myself. Yes, a leader assembles a team. No, let me land. There are different type of leaders. There are leaders who sit, assemble people, listen to them, and take advice and make a decision. There are leaders who sit and basically play a devil's advocate in getting the best out of his team. So there are all different type of leaders. If you are a leader and you rely on your team to give you a one-pager, and you read the one pager, you need to understand that one pager. And I'm saying that of all the 10, the person who has a 360 view on most of the things that drive this economy is me.
It's you.
Because if you give me that one pager, I would understand it. There is no bullshitting. You cannot come and confuse me when it comes to the energy sector, it comes to the financial sector, it comes to defense contracts, it comes to digitalization, IT, communication. Look, let me tell you something today. Glow that is no longer here. I Kojupoku registered Glow in Ghana and I brought Glow. Nobody knows that. Glow Ghana. If you go to the Registrar General and look at Glow Ghana, their address, it was my house that was registered in. And then Luka is my personal friend. I registered Glow Ghana in Ghana. Globacom. Who knows that? Nobody. So let's not go there. Go and ask Joe Jackson. Joe Jackson was the head of technical in NCA at the time when I was doing the Glow transaction. And you come to me and talk to the guys at NCA how well I understand technology when it comes to cellular. Why is that? Because in 92 to 94, when hardly anybody knew about mobile phones, I had a mobile phone shop in London. I used to repair mobile phones. I used to repair E-Tags and Sony Ericssons. Those days, those ones, not the GSM ones, the non-digital ones, the analog ones. I could strip them up and put them together.
But your Glow didn't survive.
Well, that's fine. That's a different conversation. But I'm trying to tell you that when you come to communication, you come to the technology, intranet and networks. Whether you have cellular network, whether it's GSM,
let me break you in here and bring in Professor Ransford Jampo. He's a political scientist. Prof, good morning to you and thanks for joining us here. Going into tomorrow, will there be any surprises that we should expect? Hello, Prof.
Hello.
Okay, I can hear you now.
I do not expect any surprises. I believe the delegates who would be deciding on who must lead the party as flag bearer may have decided already. The various aspirants, I think, have gone to the delegates and have given them their message. I want to believe that given the decentralized, given the nature of the elections that are going to be held, and the fact that so many interventions or rules have been put in place to ensure that the voters just vote according to their conscience, I want to believe that they have decided already in their minds, and so I do not expect to see much surprises.
Okay. From how things are going, and from, whatever you followed, who are likely to make the first five?
Oh, I don't like doing these things.
Okay.
For me, it's not necessary. What is important in my mind in this whole flag bearership race is who becomes the flag bearer of the party. Tomorrow is just a curtain raiser.
Okay.
And to my mind, the outcome of tomorrow's election would mean nothing as far as I'm concerned for the quest for whoever would emerge victorious and be the flag bearer of the party.
Okay.
Whoever is first, whoever is second, whoever is third, or whoever is fourth, whoever is fifth, will still have a lot of work to do. And for me, it is beyond what will happen tomorrow that would really matter in determining the electoral fortunes of the flag bearer hopeful.
All right. Now, once you talk about the fact that the person will have a lot to do, many people have said that people who have been in government should not be allowed in there because they would then mean that they don't have a message going into 2024. Do you agree with those people who say that? And how should the party decide on who becomes part of the first five?
Well, it depends on the message that will be given by the various aspirants. I think the decision should be based on the message of the various aspirants. So if you are part of the government or you have been in government, and then things are not working well now in Ghana, how do you extricate yourself or assure yourself from the blame? And what have you done? What did you do differently in government, or what are you doing that can be seen as different from what the current government is doing? These are some of the things that some people will tell you that you see, government or leading a country, so it's all about the vision of the leader. And so, well, I may not share the vision of the leader, but I would not also have to sabotage the leader. And so I may have to go by what the leader says. But if you give me the nod, I may do things different. These are some of the things that people may want to be saying. And of course, you know that some also have resigned, like Chairman Ting. He left to be able to prosecute his campaign. And so he, I believe, would also have a lot of things to tell delegates, and I'm sure he told them. And the other aspirants. So it's a message that that the aspirants have given to the delegates that would feature in determining who must be given the nod. I must say that all the aspirants have the pedigree to lead the party, but at the end of the day, one of them will emerge victorious. And like I indicated earlier, it's not so much about what is going to be done tomorrow that for me matters. The caliber of people who are going to be voting tomorrow are not the same. They pale in comparison with those who are at the grassroots. And so it is the majority of the voters who are also at the grassroots. And so what is important is, yes, let's see what happens tomorrow. But at the end of the day, it is the majority of the sum total of expected voters who will be voting to determine who leads as flag bearer. And so one may be third in this particular race or tomorrow's race, but it is possible that the person can have a message that will resonate with the majority of the voters, particularly those at the grassroots, and come up as first. One may be second and come up at first, and then also one may be first and still maintain the position. So tomorrow cannot be a done deal at all. Whoever comes up, whatever position one comes up tomorrow, would not mean anything, and it would also not have to ingrain complacency in the psyche of anyone. There will be a lot of work to be done until the battle is over.
All right, grateful. Thank you so much, Prof, for joining us here with your thoughts. So that's Professor Ransford Jampode. Dr. Osai Kwapong is still with us. So, Doc, you've heard all the issues. Kojo Poku says, if you look at all of them, he's better placed than all the other candidates. He should be part of the first five. When people go to the polling station tomorrow to cast their vote, and we've all said that if you look at the numbers and the composition, a lot of them seem to favor Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. But could there still be some surprises tomorrow? Is it likely?
Tough one. From where I sit, I'm not sure I'm not sure. I'm really not 100% sure if there would be anything really surprising about the outcome tomorrow. I mean, I stand corrected, I could be wrong, but from my observations, from following the campaigns of the candidates, I'm not terribly sure that anything would surprise us that much tomorrow, which is why, for me, like I said, one of the things that I would be looking for would be who emerges in the top five, the margins, between them, all of those things. Yes, it's a pruning exercise for the much bigger context, in November. But politics is such that these things, whoever wins, I'm sure, would claim, momentum, try to spin it in their favor as much as possible. Whoever emerges in the top five, even if they emerge in the top 5 with 2%, I'm sure would make the argument that, this is just a dress rehearsal. It doesn't mean much. The bigger and most important context is not there. The dynamics of politics, the rhetoric of politicians and all of those things, depending on how, things go or do not go, their way. So I think at the end of the day, we'll just have to wait and see, what happens tomorrow, and then we can, take it from there and reflect on whether we were surprised or not surprised.
How must the delegate, measure a person's ability to lead the party into 2024 and even win?
You are never too sure all the things that go into, the minds of delegates when they are picking a candidate. Like I said, I'm sure one of the things would be, who can help us win the 2024 election and break the 8. But I'm also sure that delegates also reward commitment to the party. So, for example, one of the things that I've always said about President Nana Akufo-Addo is that, through it all, the good times and the bad times, he was someone who always showed dedication, love, and support for the party. And therefore, I'm not surprised that on three different occasions, he was the party flag bearer. And the last time they used the super delegate system, it was very overwhelming, in his favor. I'm sure things like that are things that party delegates reward. I'm sure they look at, the connections to the grassroots, how much they've been or not been for them, and all of those things. But ultimately, every political party is in a race to win. And so I'm sure they do hedge their bets on not just who they think can win, but who also is able to convince them that, look, if you take your chances with me, I'm the one who can, bring that victory home. Ultimately, this is just within the party. Even if you can win within the party, you also have to have an eye to the national election and also make that calculus and say, if we go with this guy for the party on the national stage, what are our chances? And I'm sure all of those things come into play as they try to, figure out. And then, of course, there are other, influences, the endorsements and all of those things. So it's not one specific thing that you would say that's the deal breaker, for delegates. And as the late Sir John said, fear delegates. You never know what they'll do anyway.
Okay. But for you and from your readings of the space, who amongst the 10 can really face it up with John Mahama if you are sticking your neck out?
If I'm sticking my neck out, I tend to refer to Honorable Kennedy Kwapong as the establishment's anti-establishment candidate, right? His vociferous nature, those kinds of things, right? Maybe he can, see he has a history of both. He's an establishment politician, but also has a history of taking on the establishment, taking on his own party. He has record of, launching criticisms at people in his own party, etc., etc. So maybe that may buy him, some grace, some good graces to be able to take that. But frankly, honestly, like I said before, I'm not sure how any candidate, or should I put it this way, any candidate, from the party, but particularly those who served in this government, would still have that uphill task of extricating themselves from the governance outcomes that we have seen and making the case that they should still continue the party in power. Whoever can make a case of,
all right,
why that shouldn't be. So I think maybe, but yeah, it's tough to stick out.
All right, let me bring in Professor Kobe Mensah. He is a political marketing expert. Prof, Grateful that you are joining us. We are told that you're out of the jurisdiction, but you still find time to join us. Who amongst the 10 do you think has been able to market himself so well to the delegates that he stands a chance of topping the list tomorrow?
Hello?
Prof.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you. Can you say it again, please?
Okay, so I was asking that with your background as a political marketer, who amongst the 10 do you think has been able to market himself so well to the delegates that he stands a chance of topping the list or being part of the first 5?
Well, I suppose when you talk about marketing, obviously this is an internal politics, primaries. So certainly you would say that almost all of them are connected to the delegates. We have seen media reports and the various kind of visits that the candidate has made, particularly Alan Chamantin, Baumia, for example, and then of course you have Kennedy Japan. You've seen Kwapong Japan also going around with a lot of media attention, a lot of reports on there. You've seen Boakye Jaku. So pretty much almost all of them. Of course, the Agri Minister had been seen connecting with the delegates. So from the perspective of say that personal selling, i.e. meeting the delegates, they have pretty much done that. Of course, in marketing, there are other things that you want to talk about, apart from the idea that they are meeting the people. You're also talking about the brand's own equity, the kind of things that they say that, kind of go a long way to benefit them or their position. So for me, I think that in terms of they putting themselves forward, almost, all the major, candidates have done that from the evidences that we've seen in the media, their engagement with the people. So if you want to, take that one as the marketing, then certainly they have. But of course, in terms of marketing, we're also looking at, how targeted they are. Of course, you've got to segment and target your market with particular messages, and with particular, sort of attention. That, of course, you would also see differences in there. Some have actually targeted the delegates with specific messages about how they would do or what they would do to improve their livelihoods. Some have promised, paying them. Others have said that they will give them 10 slots in government. So different kinds of messaging targeting the delegates, to secure their vote. So I think that extensively, the major candidates have been seen, adequately, marketing themselves to the delegates.
Okay. Interesting. Let's see how it goes tomorrow. Thank you so much, Professor Kobe Mensah, for joining us here.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Let me come back to the studio because one of the aspirants who is upbeat about tomorrow is still here with us here. So for you, I mean, all of these people are not overly qualified than you, that they should be placed above you, and that tomorrow you expect to be part of the first 5.
Yeah, when it comes to the race that we are all in, I don't think that's why I disagree with that. You don't have experience and overly qualified. I think we all have our own individual qualification in our own bracket. There's a thing that nobody is talking about, and that's because I tell you that most people have not spoken to delegates. The state the delegates are in, okay? Are they happy with how they are as delegates in the party? As members of the party, are they happy? Nobody's talking about that. You listen to most of your people, nobody is bringing out that. One of the first things when you talk to every party member, they talk about is the state they are in. As a party in government, do they feel that they are happy with the state they are in?
What do they need to be happy?
Well, look, everybody needs to feel that, one, if you are in opposition, there's a certain feel because there's a level of sacrifice that is expected of you. Okay, so we are in opposition. Everybody should sacrifice, tighten your belt. We'll get there. We'll be able to now make sure that everybody's okay, because then there will be a lion's share. The cake will be spread evenly, and everybody will feel like we are in government. Because when you're in opposition, we all know the feel. Now that we've been in power for 7 years, the feel of some people is worse than what we were in opposition. They don't feel that we are in government. There are opportunities that they feel should come their way that don't come their way. There are some empowerment that they feel should come their way that's not coming their way. That is one of the key things that every delegate complains about. And none of your people are talking about it. Do you know why? Because they've not spoken to these delegates. Whether who leads the party into 2024, who breaks the 8 and all those things, that's secondary. Okay? The primary, anybody going to vote tomorrow has an individual. He has a will, a wish. They want to advance themselves politically. Is the current setup set up in such a way to advance them?
So how will you make them happy?
How would I make them happy? To address, look, there is a certain amount of ignore. And when people go around saying certain things that, oh, we'll give 10 slots and all that, this 10 slot thing everybody talks about, it's something that was said in 2016.
10 slots to who?
Well, in the vice president campaign, he said that when he becomes president, he will give 10 slots of appointment to every constitution, to every constituency. Okay. And some of us have said that, but that exists already. Just that is not being done. In 2016, we told the party people that we'll give them 10 slots. And whilst we've been in power for 7 years, the constituencies are sitting there and they've not seen these 10 slots. Okay? So, look, like I said, Kojo Poku is fresh. I'm new. Now I have the opportunity, because now my word is my bond. If I tell them something and in the next 4 years I mess up, then I become like anybody else. But I have really promised myself and said to myself that, look, I want to be different, and I am going to be different. So the reason I have gone around and sold myself and told the people that, look, trust in me, believe in what I tell you, because there's two things that will happen. It's either I'm a liar or I'm truthful. If I'm a liar, I become like everybody else. You call me, you don't get me, you have problems, I can't help you solve it. I leave you in the state that you are in. I don't help you advance your political career all your life. Okay, I'm not able to assist you. Then my relationship with you becomes transactional. And next time I come to you, you just basically said, for us in free or last time you came and talked and we never heard from you again. Which is what the traditional politician does. But as a businessman who have left his business, and I'm doing so well in that business, to go into the field of active politics, I honestly don't want to fall prey to that. I want to be a change. I want to be a breath of fresh air, so that everybody will say that, we supported this man and we've never regretted it.
Is it not because you've not been into or been in office like they have? Be a minister.
What's the difference?
Be a minister or vice president, where you have a whole country to manage, and therefore your time is you don't have that free time for you to engage like the way you will, because you are in a private business.
So let me say something to you. If you're a minister or you are an MP, MPs even have more wahala than ministers. Okay, so you're an MP, you have a whole constituency that everybody comes to you with the nitty-gritty. Everything comes to an MP. Some MPs are so good that if today you try to compete them, people laugh at you. Why is that? Because they understand the work they have been given and they've put themselves to do. Why are some MPs having challenges that people have vowed to take them out because they don't even come to the constituency? So it's a choice. It's not about whether I have not been there, but I have friends and siblings who are MPs, right? And I have friends who are ministers, who are MPs, and I have friends who are ministers and MPs. You call them, you send them messages, they reply and all that, and everybody attests that, Asuma Sidiye, this is how he is. And there are ones that, nothing. You call them, text them, they don't mind you, because it's the arrogance they build. Then they only come to you when they need power to now say that, take this and vote for me, because they want to have a transactional relationship. So look, it's difficult. I'm not saying it's not difficult. Having maybe 200, 300 WhatsApp messages constantly coming on you to be able to go through all that. But that's why you also have assistants. Okay? So assistants or your PAs and your secretaries are to help you manage some of these things. If you don't have the right structure, then you'll be overwhelmed. If you have the right structure in place, the first and foremost of any elected politician is that you need to sharpen your people's skills. It's not how well you are. And that's why I don't agree with when people say that you should protect people who have done well in parliament. Oh, we have some good quality in parliament and they are there, they are doing marvelous work, we should protect them in the constituency. No. You are elected by the people. Attend to the people at the same way you attend to your work. If not, the people should kick you out. So I believe in that. Look, I was brought up in politics and raised by a very marvelous woman. One of the things that pained me is that she's not around to see what will happen tomorrow. Honorable Rebecca Hawa Yakubu Ogide. And I learned so much from that woman that her demeanor, her response to everybody, doesn't matter how busy she is, she knew how to make sure everybody was attended to. And that's why she was so great a politician. So that excuse that, oh, I'm busy, I can't attend, I'm a minister, is just people's arrogance. There are good politicians who attend to everybody as much as they can or have structures that address those problems. The fact that you are not doing it is not an excuse because that is the position you are running for. Today, if I'm president and I complain about the number of people calling my phone, I have no right to complain because that you're a private person, you came into politics, so people should call you and text you as much as they can.
Really?
Yes.
The president?
Yes.
You are ruling over 30 million people.
Well, if you
are the flag bearer, for example, if we should use your vote as probably those are your base, you have more than 5 million people. And if everybody is calling you, and even if you have assistant, can you really
Okay,
deal
so
with
let me say one thing. The reason everybody is calling a politician, do you know why? Because things are not going well. If you fix the problems, nobody will call you. They are calling you because what? Today, people are calling the MP or the minister for work because there's no jobs. People are calling the MP or the minister because they feel that they've applied for something and they need protocol because there's no fairness. If all these things are fixed, there are abundant of jobs. There are fair play in appointments and in application. Why would the person call you to bother you? You understand? The reason that people are calling politicians and overwhelming them is because there is nothing happening at the base. If everything is well, and that's one thing I want to do as president, I want to fix the problems. If the problems are fixed, then there will be no need. People will go about their business. If you are busy working, why would anybody want to bother themselves? Maybe he's calling you to greet you. Oh, Miti Kujunka Chemin friend in Chiano. But the only reason 80% of the calls to politicians is people looking for help because they have no jobs. It's people looking for employment because they have no jobs. It's people looking for maybe a protocol because they want to do something, they are facing stumbling blocks. Okay? But if these things work, the number of people calling politicians will reduce. And that is why I think that we should fix the problems. I think that some politicians don't want to fix the problem because they love that lord over us.
Oh, really?
I think so. Because why won't you solve the problem?
Including your government?
Including everybody. I mean, why don't you solve the problems? So if you don't solve the problem and you think that everybody has to come to you, so that is why I think that first things first, let's resolve the problems in the country. Let's basically make sure that we tackle the nitty-gritty. Make sure people are... Look, there's two conversations I've always said. There is the standard of living conversation and there's infrastructure conversation.
Okay.
I, Kojupuku, I've always said that I think Ghanaians prefer the standard of living conversation and then you do that, the infrastructure conversation. Because you can build all the infrastructures if there is nothing in the person's pocket and there is no disposable income to take care of the needed things in the community or at home or anything, then the person will always want to call you for something. And the reason our politics is becoming money-based is because there's nothing. If the person sits there the whole year, he has not even gotten 50 cedis to pay certain things, and all of a sudden he has a chance to make money, why won't you ask?
So you are saying on authority that politicians intentionally...
No, I'm not saying... I said, I
okay.
know where you're going,
okay.
but...
So you're saying that politicians do not want to solve our problems because they want to lord over the people all the time.
Some, not all. Some politicians
do not want to solve it.
Some politicians do not solve the problems that they can solve.
Okay.
Because they are happy to lord over the people. Some, not all.
Is that how we can describe the current government? Because
no, I wouldn't lump everybody and paint with one brush. No, some are doing good jobs. Some.
Okay.
I'm not saying that the government.
No.
But you can do that. You can. The government is made up of multifaceted of people. You can't say the government is not. I'm saying politicians as individuals. There are ministers who have been put in positions to do their work, and they're not doing their work.
So in the people you are in the race with, who amongst them has not been able to solve the challenges because he wants to lord over the people?
Honestly, come on, why would you say that? But none of the people I'm running with are the people that you think I would describe as that. There are people who have done well in their various fields and they feel comfortable enough to lead the party. Why would you think? I don't think they will be classed as some of the politicians who want to not fix the problem a lot. If not, they will not be in this race. Because we all want to lead the party to help the problems of the party. So I don't think that you want to go down that line of the 10 that are in this. We are the elite. 10 of the elite in the party who wants to lead the party. They all mean well. We all mean well to fix the problems of the party. So I don't think their intent is to lord. I'm saying that some politicians do that. Doesn't mean that everybody, and you cannot say government. The government is a big chunk of the community. Not everybody in there has that intent. But I repeat, some politicians do not because they feel that they want to lord over the people, but some.
How disappointed will you be tomorrow if you're not part of the first 5?
I won't be disappointed. Me? No, I've done too well. My brother, where I am today, I'm a beacon of hope for a lot of youth. I'm a beacon of hope for a lot of people. I'll be so happy with myself tomorrow if I don't make it, because it will be a fight well fought, a journey well traveled, right? An experience that I can never share with anybody except myself. I have traveled the country 3 times. I have met people and sat with people, otherwise I would not have met them. I've been invited to people's houses and shared so much wisdom and given blessings. Why would I be disappointed? There are 10 people, only 5 can go through. If I'm not through, I will look at who I can back. We'll back them on November 4th. The person wins. We all back that person to wrestle power for 2024.
But you believe you're the right person
I
for the
am
job.
the right person.
Yes.
But look, listen. Me, what I believe, my work was to go around the country, meet, sit, talk with delegates to tell them what I think they should do. That delegate enters that booth and he's with himself and his God, who they decide to vote for. And 99% I know I'm going to be part of that 5. And I'm going to shock people. But let's say that doesn't happen. That 1% of your delegate happens and I'm not part of the 5. I, Kujupuku, have done so well. 2 years ago, nobody in this country associated my name with the leadership of MPP. Today, I'm on the ballot. So look, personally, I'm happy where I am. I'm on cloud 9. What happens tomorrow will be an icing on the cake. Whether there will be icing or there will be no icing, there will still be a cake. So let's not let anybody think that I will be disappointed tomorrow. No way. I'm only 49 years. If the Lord gives me another 30 years, I'll be 79. And if I have good genes like my uncle J. Kufuor, then I'll probably be 90 years. And I'll be around for another 40 years. You know what the sky is for me in terms of politics and my style of politics? My brother, we've just started this journey. So there's no disappointment in my life.
Did you come into the race to win?
Yes.
Really?
But I don't vote for everybody. If I had to vote for myself to win, then I came in to win, so I will vote myself to win. I came in to win, but I have to sell my message to people to vote for me. If they don't think that it's time for me to go, fine. I will thank them and move on. Look, in Chi, if the heavens believe that is my time, I will be. Nobody can stop that.
How much have the delegates been demanding of you when you go?
How much? Nothing. Look, I'll give you an example. In one of the regions, after the meeting, and these are the things that you guys should let people understand. When it comes to you traveling, most of the times it's easier for us to meet in the regional capitals because these are more like constituency chairmen and the region executives that you are meeting. So some chairmen have to travel like 4 hours. So I'll give you, like in the Northeast, if you have somebody come from Tripoli to, let's say, Nalugu, it's like 3 hours. In Western region, somebody come from maybe Jomoro to Takrady, it's like 3.5 hours. If you are to travel there, it's your cost of fuel you have to go. But if you want these chairmen to travel to meet you in the regional capital, the least you can do is to pay for their fuel that they used to come. So that's what we do. And that's what I do. I basically just give them, I beg them to come and meet me, and I'll give them their fuel. So I give them fuel, the in and out fuel, which is the fairness, because the person is sitting in their house. The right thing is for you to go to them. If you are begging them to come to you, you have to buy their fuel.
How much each?
It depends where they're coming from. If the person is local, then there's no fuel. The person is coming from far, you calculate the fuel and give the person. But the point is, when I was in one of the regions, right, They didn't want to take the fuel. They said, look, for what I'm doing, they want to basically help me with whatever I came with to give them for the fuel. I should take it and use it for my campaign. And I said, no. I'm begging them because I don't want them to be out of pocket.
So they don't want to take it.
They don't want to take anything.
Okay. Let me bring in Professor Amakoba. He is Dr. Amakoba. He is a political scientist and also has leanings to the governing MPP. Doc, good morning.
Good morning.
You've been in this race before. I mean, you wanted the national chairmanship, I think.
Yes.
What's your expectation like for tomorrow?
Oh, tomorrow is a special election. It's not like electing the chairman or anything like that. That one is not as high an agenda. But this one is the highest because whoever goes through stands a chance of becoming the flag bearer. Then, of course, it still stands a chance of becoming the president of the republic. So this is high stakes. That's the difference. Ours was just 2 notches down, this one. And so when the stakes are high, you know the tensions will be high.
Are we supposed to expect any surprises tomorrow? You know the party very well. You know the delegate.
Well, the real agenda is not for some people. It is not to just eliminate some. For some people, they have a different agenda. They want to look at the percentage of win, the margin of victory, and from that, they come in with the main agenda. I'm talking about Baumia's camp.
Okay.
And he came out about 2 days ago. When Ofeche Bonsu was saying, we all know he's a Baumia supporter. He said it before. Now he says, if any candidate gets more than 70%, it will be wise for the party to throw their support behind such a candidate and make him on the pay. That is the agenda for them. So if you see they are working very hard, that's what it is.
Will that agenda happen? Is it something that could possibly happen?
Oh, it's entirely possible. That's why they fought against concentration in one area. That's why they agreed to holding the election nationwide. It makes no sense. It's too expensive for the candidate to gather the resources to provide for all their officers nationwide, as opposed to one venue. But that's what the party said. And what they did makes no sense, because it makes the contest too expensive, even for the electoral commissioner and all of that, too expensive. Nationwide, as opposed to one place. We want to Cambodia for the national chairman. What is wrong with that? The logistics will be the same. But they don't want that. They want to be able to maneuver certain things, right? To Ghana, they paid a lot of money to people. We know all these things. To get them to get overwhelming support, even in this event. This is not the main event. This is the event before the event. But they are working very hard so that they can come up with the agenda and say, look at here. This man is very, very, very popular. So we see it. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Because those who are voting for this period will not be the same ones who vote in the general election. Their outlook is very different. The so-called super delegates. How many? It's the MP, CEOs. These are people on the higher level of the economic system in Ghana. So their outlook is different. So we should not use their outlook as the general outlook of the population. It isn't right.
How much are they paying people to vote for them? You mentioned that they are paying some people.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't received one myself, so I can't tell. But I know they are doing it. We saw it at Asino, not so. We saw it at Asino. Money in bags, in barrel of bags, being distributed. It didn't work. But this time I don't know, because maybe the money is bigger. When the money is big enough, they will do what you want. That's how it is. We need money. People need money. So the MPs need money. They've been given money, so they go along. This is what is going on.
So you are anticipating that Dr. Bawumia may probably win by a margin, but it shouldn't.
That one it's a done deal. He will win, but whether he will win by that large margin, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't. He will win. But this time we are not looking for who will win. We are looking for who is out. That's what this election is about. It's not about who wins.
But you are warning that margin should not be made to seem as though it is a representative of the entire.
That's what they want to do. But I have said, even if the margin is 95, we will not agree because it's against the Constitution. We will still demand the runoff, the final run. That is their agenda, is to use this as an excuse to let him go on a post. We will not agree to that. The party does not belong to him. Look at this situation. This man was not even a member of NPP. He was not a member of NPP. It's Nanado who brought him in. Talk to the people. Those who were vying for president, people in there had ambition to become vice president. Why not? And consideration for Nanado, they say, okay, bring him. The party constitution says you must be a member for 5 years, at least 5 years, before you can contest for position. You bring someone from the outside, not a member at all, and he quickly jumps to the front as vice presidential candidate. And when you won, you become vice president. Not so. You ran 3 times before you won, 12 years. Now, you spent 4 years already. You still want another 4 years. That'll be 20 years. 20 years. Why? There are no other persons in the party for this outsider to jump in the front and remain there for 20 years. Audacity. After you served the honor of being vice president, you still want to go, what, 8 more years? No. Just for decency alone, this is not right.
Okay.
Some people say he's a member of the party, so what? The rules are there. They considered you and let you come. If you are decent, you will look at that and say, no, I can't do this. There were people there before me. They allowed me to become president. That's an honor. But this man is not honest because he's the main man who said, because he's a Northerner, he's the one they took to go and represent NPP. Oh, what a shame. A big honor like this. You became the face of the party. Now, this is what you're saying because it's convenient for you. This man, no, he should not become president because he has no honor. That's what I say, honestly. At one time, he was my friend, but I'm telling you the truth. What I've seen is what I've seen. I can say a whole lot more, but it's not warranted here.
Okay. Doc, I'm grateful to you for joining us with your thoughts.
Thank you very much.
Dr. Amakoma is a political scientist. Okay. Well, let me take my final remarks from Dr. Osei Kwapong. Doc, so once we are parting with, what will be your final comment?
Looking forward with excitement tomorrow. As a political observer, as a political scientist myself, these things really, really interest me. And I'm sure we'll be back sometime next week to have a follow-up conversation on what happened.
Thank you so much. Dr. Osei Kwapong is a CDD fellow. Mr. Kwadwo is one of the candidates. Your final remarks.
Well, let me say something off the back what Doctor said earlier. I think, look, as a party, we should have a hard look at our constitution, whether in the future we would not want to amend our constitution to let vice presidents contest. I think it's something we should do. I've been told that it's been looked at in the past. There was a document, but for some reason it got lost in.
But to prevent the vice president from running,
contesting, yes, when he's really? Sitting, yes, it's not fair. Look, I'm running with 2 hands behind my back. You cannot strip the vice president of his role as vice president if he's sitting and running. All ministers have to resign and run, okay? But the vice president, who can travel with all the benefits of being a vice president, he can go to 5 regions in a day. I cannot do that. He uses the logistics of the vice president and the presidency. And he doesn't basically pay for fuel, he doesn't pay for anything and all those things. The advantage that a certain vice president has in running for office against some of us is unfair. But for me, that's not the conversation we should start now. But in the long term, the party should really look at it that, look, a vice president should either go out for 4 years before coming back, or maybe do as we do with the ministers, resign 18 months before you contest. Because really and truly, for what is happening now, and because of fear of people's jobs, people are, look, there are people who are being called parliamentary candidates, right, who are contesting, and they're getting anonymous phone calls that, look, if you do this against them, they will make sure you lose. And, you know, so my point is, that office of the vice president, if it's running against people like us, it becomes a bit unfair in terms of what resources that exist within that system and people like us. So in the long term, we should really look at it as a party, whether we want to encourage that.
Okay, I'm grateful. I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
For tomorrow, and then we'll be here on Monday to do the post.
Call me Saturday, tomorrow evening after 3 o'clock.
We'll do
and then maybe I wouldn't hear you call because the noise will be too much.
Okay, so that's Kojo Poku. He's part of the 10 who are vying for the 5 slots for the main Congress in November. Well, we'll see how tomorrow goes, but grateful that you've been here. We have more for you here on the AM show. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Back to the AM show. Let's talk about history. And even before we come on, I'm already loving this discussion. You remember a man by name W.E.B. Du Bois. I mean, Dr. W.E. Du Bois. He was born on February 27, 1868 in Great Barrington, Massachusetts. And he was not only the first African-American to earn a doctorate degree from Harvard University, but also a co-founder of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. His life and works have left an enduring legacy, one that continues to inspire people around the globe. Now, as you know already, this man left US of A and decided to settle in Ghana, to make Ghana his second home. And he and his wife passed in this country, and as we speak till today, they are, you say they are remaining or remnant, still remain here in Ghana, in the capital, Accra, at the W.E. Du Bois Center. I'm lucky to be joined in the studio by Mr. Japhet Ayiku. He is Executive Director of the W.E.B. Du Bois Museum Foundation here in Ghana. Dr. David Leverin Lewis is 2 times award-winning author of a biography of W.E. Du Bois, and he was also a former lecturer at the University of Ghana, Legon, in 1963, I am told. Good morning to you, gentlemen.
Good
and
morning.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
Before we came on, I was asking for the right pronunciation of Du Bois.
Yeah.
And you said it's Du Bois.
Du Bois, yeah.
Because a lot of people think it's Du Bois,
yeah.
but it's Du Bois.
Du Bois, yeah.
Okay.
I learned that very quickly when I started working on this project.
Okay.
Like, it's just Du Bois.
Okay, so that's the clarification. A lot of people should know that it's Du Bois.
Du Bois.
Okay, all right then. Let's start off our conversation here so that everybody can benefit. Now, what are the main objectives and purpose behind organizing the 60th anniversary of the passing of this man?
So thank you very much for having us in the studio. So as you said, I'm Japhet Ayiku. I'm a Ghanaian American, and I serve as Executive Director of the W.E.B. Du Bois Museum Foundation, which is based in New York and has affiliate here in Ghana. Our aim is to work with the Ghana government to rebuild the Du Bois Center into a first-class museum that will be the hub of all things Du Bois. I've always said that a lot of places have remnants of Du Bois, they have their books and papers and all of that. Ghana has the remains of Du Bois, and so we have to make it into a first-class museum. So that's what our objective is, to try to do that. So whilst we're trying to negotiate with the Ghana government, we decided that we have to honor 2 events in his life. One is his birthday, the 23rd of February. Every year we're going to honor that. And then the 27th of August, his death day.
Okay.
So
his birthday was
23rd February. Yeah.
February. Yeah. Okay.
And every year we honor that day with event in Ghana. Yeah. And then the 27th of August is his death day, the day he passed. And this year happens to be the 60th anniversary of his passing, which is very significant. because the day before, after he passed, there was a big civil rights march in Washington, D.C., which resulted in a lot of legislation for jobs and equality and all of that. So we said we're going to commemorate this 60th anniversary by having a couple of events here at the center. One is on Saturday, the 26th, we're going to have a symposium.
Okay.
Where we have invited some Du Bois scholars from around the United States and here in Ghana to reflect on the life of Du Bois. And then on the 27th, which is the actual day of his passing, the Sunday, we are going to do a wreath laying, and the president has agreed to come for that event on Sunday. So we're very excited.
And it will be done at the center?
At the center.
Okay.
So it will be done at the center. So for the panelists that are put together, the leading panelist is Dr. David Levin Lewis, who is the authoritative author of The Life of Du Bois with his book, as I brought it to the studio. I mean, no one knows more about Du Bois than this gentleman here who spent his lifetime researching Du Bois. And this book won in 2 volumes. Each of them won the Pulitzer Prize Award, which has never been done before. No one has ever won the Pulitzer Prize for a biography of the same subject back to back. He's the only one who has ever done it. So I'm very, very happy to have him with us and to have him in the studio here today.
Okay. All right. So this is a book that Dr. Levin wrote. He's a winner of the Pulitzer Prize. A biography of W.E. Du Bois, David Levin Lewis, and we have him in the studio here. So Doc, let's talk about the significance, of the works of Du Bois. I mean, especially
Du Bois.
I almost went for the corrupt name, Du Bois. It's Du Bois.
Du Bois.
In contribution to civil rights activities, especially with his Pan-African ideals, particularly in the context of his connection to Ghana.
Yes. Du Bois's career is really quite remarkable. In the United States, of course, as we do know, he was the co-founder of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. And to make that organization effective, he edited a magazine of remarkable political and investigative saliency. It was called the Crisis Magazine. And I think it's fair to say that for many African Americans growing up in the early 20th century, this was their Bible. This was the document that informed them of the rights that they should have, and the reasons why they did not have those rights. And it was finally very effective in producing, though by that time he had gone on to do other things, producing the historic Supreme Court decision in 1954, Brown versus Board of Education, which said that equality cannot be partial, it must be therefore total. And it opened up the airways, as it were, to people of color, to full participation in their democracy. Du Bois, responsible in many ways for that development, looked upon it, though, from a global perspective and said, although these rights have been given formally, in reality, their acquisition is a long and difficult road ahead. And he, having said something at the beginning of the 20th century that has been perhaps the catechism of people of color globally, when he said that the problem of the 20th century was going to be the problem of the color line. And he then amended it to say it will continue to be the problem even after that century. And with that perspective in mind, he looked upon the situation globally and said, even the advantages that people of color have obtained in my country are considerable. They are quite partial and still evolving. And we can be part of a global piggyback, as it were, of development of justice globally, if indeed we commit ourselves to the advancement of people of color everywhere, globally. And it turned out that he had an ally and a young man who had known him well in the United States as a student at Lincoln University, and had indeed at a famous institution called the Schomburg Institution, a library in Harlem. He had spoken with Du Bois about these very issues. He had never forgotten the interaction he had had with Du Bois. And so, finally, as Du Bois aged and became less and less happy with the developments, formal though they were in terms of their civil rights, but insufficient, he had an ambition, and that was to create an Encyclopedia Africana, which would explain to the world in a handy but very fat document how the deprivation of people of color has consequences that have deprived everyone, indeed. And it was Nkrumah who invited Du Bois to come to Ghana with the support of the Academy of Sciences of Ghana to produce that document. Du Bois was not quite ready to go, but developments in the United States finally decided him that he must leave, because although the results had benefited his own people in the United States, the global war between East and West prohibited, really, the movement of people of the darker races. And so he accepted that invitation. He left in 1961 and came here. And there on Cantonments Road in his bungalow, he anticipated creating that encyclopedia. He died before that could happen. And
so where the foundation is was his bungalow?
Yeah.
Yes.
Where the center is?
That is indeed so.
Yeah.
That is indeed so. Yeah. And he passed on the eve. His timing was, in fact, cinematic, you might say, that he died just as people of color in the United States realized that they needed more rights, and that those rights were connected to people globally. And so with the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom in August 28 of 1963, it opened with 200,000 people encircling the grand reflecting pool in front of the Lincoln Memorial, where the chairman of the NAACP stepped to the microphone and said, "We are here today because a great man has just died in Ghana. And it is his wish and his significance that has brought us here today." And so we have soon Martin Luther King speaking in phrases that have been unparalleled since Abraham Lincoln, invoking the ideas of a Du Bois, as Du Bois died here. And Osagyefo Nkrumah decided that he, Du Bois, merited a great state funeral and burial at Christiansborg Castle in 1963.
Very, very interesting history in the morning. You want to ask something?
Indeed, yeah, no, what he just said. So every now and then when I'm asked, how did I get involved with this Du Bois project, I always say, well, I met Du Bois when I was 13 years old.
Okay.
And then everybody was, you did? Yeah, I said, yeah. So the story behind my meeting Du Bois when I was 13 years old was that I went to a third grade high school. We were introduced to library reading. So I go to the library and I'm looking at the shelves, and the first book that I picked from the shelf was a red rectangular book, Souls of Black Folk. How can I read Souls of Black Folk? I mean, it's hard reading. But I was able to memorize the first paragraph, which he just quoted. That stuck with me from the age of 13 up to now, that the problem of the 20th century is the problem of the color line. The relationship between the darker skinned people of Africa, the West Indies, and the lighter skinned people of Europe and the rest of the world. That stuck with me. And that prophecy is as true as it wrote back in the 1900s as it is today. If you look at what's happening all over around the world, it is always a question of the color, okay, who we are as a people, and how they look at us and all of that. So, yeah, he just went over everything that
interesting.
got into this. Yeah.
But Doc, you know that his relocation to Ghana and dining in the country along his wife has, I think, created a relationship between Ghana and the US of A. How do we develop that in terms of cultural, arts, history, and all of that?
It's a tall order, indeed, but it's also a marvelous opportunity, it seems to me. Symbolism is essential, it seems to me, in our quest to achieve just those things. And we have the opportunity on Cantonments Road, where Du Bois and his second wife, Shirley Graham Du Bois, are interred, to celebrate those ideas monumentally. That is to say, to have a place for scholars to come internationally, globally, to deepen the ideas and ideals of Du Bois. We have a place where Ghanaians who perhaps as the years have passed themselves desire to reclaim that moment of Pan-Africanism that was so central to both their president's ideals and Du Bois's as well. It seems to me also that there is a larger critique to make of the system by which people are both advanced and at the same time denied their rights, and that would be called capitalism. A marvelous engine for productivity and wealth, at the same time, one which unregulated maldistributes wealth and concentrates it at the very pinnacle of the social structure.
It doesn't spread it to the base.
It doesn't spread the base. And if any essential idea encapsulates Du Bois, and it seems to me President Nkrumah in those times, it was just that, to regulate the economics of the globe so that we all benefit from it.
Okay. We're just about wrapping up, but the Du Bois Foundation has helped in preserving and honoring his legacy. What are the plans for the foundation?
Yeah, so what we're planning to do is that in the next 4 years or so, we are going to raise between $50 and $75 million. We're going to invest in that place. We're going to rebuild, restore his bungalow to the way that it was when they lived there. We're going to rebuild the tomb into a nice memorial. We're going to build offices with conference centers and all of that, so that the center will become the hub of all things Du Bois. This is our goal and our aim. It's going to create a lot of jobs and skill training. The books, he came to Ghana with 1,500 books. The books are falling apart. We have a relationship with the Library of Congress, which is the premier library in the whole world. They're working with us to preserve those books, repair them, and restore them, all that. These are skills that we are going to be providing to Ghanaians, both training them here and also abroad, for them to come back and restore these books and digitization and all of that. Very, very exciting thing ahead of us that we're looking forward to do. Coming here, though, there are 5 other scholars who are here. I hope you come to the center tomorrow to listen to them.
Why not?
We're also here with our board, members of the board of the Du Bois Foundation. There's a Ghanaian, the head of Ghanaian Association of Ghana Industries, Dr. Humphrey Dake, is a member of our board. We also have Dr. Deborah Rose, who's also here. She's a member of our board. They're all going to be there tomorrow and Sunday.
Okay, so it's tomorrow and Sunday.
And Sunday, yeah.
All right, so we all pass by to learn about Du Bois.
Yes.
Thank you so much. This is a very heavy one.
Yes, this is it.
Okay. All right, so you had Mr. Japhet Ayiku. He is Executive Director of the W.E. Du Bois Museum Foundation. Dr. David Leverin Lewis, he's a 2 times award-winning author of a biography of W.E. Du Bois. And this one here is the Pulitzer Prize winner. Well, that has been our show. But like they said, please, let's meet there tomorrow and Sunday at the W.E. Du Bois Memorial Center and learn more about Du Bois and history and the relevance on you as well. So grateful that you could spend your morning with us. On behalf of the team, I say thank you so much. God willing, we'll meet again next week. But why wouldn't I wrap this up in my own language, Ahanta, when I have these ones here? Inti ndama kahani semlawase kani wale negrale ne showi ye amne adomia kizirene say ye nyamle ngramze mo. So to wait, thank you that you joined us. By the grace of God, we'll meet again, God willing, on Monday. Until then, please be good. News Desk is up next.